It is week number 4 of the high school football season, and tonight, the Red Raiders of St. Francis, situated in Hamburg, New York, just a little bit outside of the Nickel City, Buffalo, made about the 2.5-hour trek down here to Geauga County to take on your Chardon Hilltoppers. How you doing, everyone? Matt Jaworski, Ryan Radke with you as we get you set for this one. And folks, it is week number 4. It's that point in time now where we really start to see what this Hilltopper team is made of. They've had a few tough opponents, but now we're starting to get the big boys in this schedule.
Yeah, well, that was a big win last week against Avon Lake. Defense played incredibly. The offense did a lot of great things out there a week ago, so plenty to build off of from that win as you take on a St. Francis team coming in that should present a similar challenge to Avon Lake a week ago.
Now, the Hilltopper defense giving up 38 yards last week. Teams have been tough to run against this Hilltopper defensive line. Give the linebackers some credit as well. Big question coming into this one is, what will the Red Raiders bring tonight? They played their first game last week against Benedictine and lost to the Bengals. That was the Bengals' first win since 2021. So going to be some mystery on that end.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. It's very strange to be in week 4 and have the team that you're going up against only having played once. They're still kind of in that figuring out phase that most of the teams in Ohio now are already through as we're getting to the middle part of the schedule.
Keep this in mind, though. They have some studs on that roster, including left tackle Marcus Harrison, a senior, 6'8", 325, who's headed to a Division I college. You may have heard of it, named Clemson. So the young man's got a future. We'll see what tonight's game brings, but we invite you to stick around because we have the pregame festivities up next right here on GTV.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Roniak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs, Residence Artists, El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, We Were Athletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing the 2023 Chardon Hilltopper Marching Band. The band is being led onto the field by drum major Evan Cool. The Hilltopper Marching Band is excited to welcome our 8th grade band members this evening for our pre-game show. We hope to see all of these great musicians in the Hilltopper Marching Band next season. All right, Hilltoppers, put your hands together for the OSU Buckeye Battle Cry. Hilltoppers, put your hands together for the Hey Song. Would you now please stand if you are able, and gentlemen, remove your hats as we honor our country with the national anthem, and remain standing for the Chardon High School alma mater. Let's give a big round of applause for our 8th grade band members, and thanks to all of our 8th grade parents for their support this evening.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Ronyak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs. Residence artists: El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, We Were Athletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
And here come your Chardon Hilltoppers. It is a great night for football here at Chardon Memorial. Matt Jaworski, Ryan Radke with you. Thank you for tuning in here to GTV as we get you ready for this one. A little bit more than a minute away from kickoff. Ryan, you look at the Hilltoppers' schedule so far entering this point in the season. Week 1, 35-0 win over a very young, very untested West Geauga Wolverines team. Week 2, 2.5-hour trek out to Tiffin and Columbian, where they lost a heartbreaker in the last 21 seconds, 50-49. Last week, a great rebound win by Chardon, 28-10 over the Shoremen of Avon Lake. Tonight, we have unknown opponent, but they're a big team.
Yeah, that's the thing that stands out when you look on the roster is how much size they have, and number 73 is going to lead the way in that look tonight. But yeah, as far as it goes, you know, they played Benedictine last week. They hadn't played a scrimmage before that, so this team really only has one competitive anything under their belts in 2023, so it's definitely posing a bit of an unknown as we head into this one tonight.
I want to break down that game for a second here because there's something you need to pay attention to. And this is going to go back to something that we alluded to in the opener. St. Francis, the Red Raiders, last week against Benny, put up 239 total yards of offense. Not bad again for their first scrimmage. 173 came on the ground, 66 in the air. So keep that in mind. Based on what they did in week 1, they are a running team. Teams just do not run on this Hilltopper offense. Overall this year, Hilltopper's giving up, on average, 39.3 rushing yards a game. That comes out to $136 a run. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Hilltoppers defense goes against this big offensive line for the Red Raiders tonight.
That's the thing. The Red Raiders are going to hope all that extra size on their offensive line will help them, but man, we see it all the time. This Hilltopper defense is just so good. It'll be about that battle in the trenches today to see who will come out on front tonight.
Now, the opponents who, at first blush, I will admit I kind of fell for this too. I thought, the heck did they do scheduling the San Francisco 49ers? No, it's the St. Francis Red Raiders. That was my bad.
But the uniforms look familiar.
Yes, it is.
So,
but they have it's going to be the biggest O-line that we've seen all year. And you look at their defensive line, and it's not too shabby, too. The starters go 245, 265, 260, 200. So it's going to be a contest night for the Hilltoppers. Pooch punt. It's falling down. Loose ball, and who's got it? St. Francis says they have it. Officials saying they do. My, oh my. Chardon not ready for that one.
No, and St. Francis did a good job. They're able to take advantage. So you came off a loss in week 1. You got a long bus trip to get here, and you're going to kick off. You decide you want the ball first. You want to score first. You're going to take a chance, and you're successful. And now you get the ball in Chardon territory at the 29-yard line.
Well, out comes the Red Raider offense led by Keanu Langa. He's going to hand the ball off, trying to make a cut, but gaining just maybe a yard or so is Terrence Pendergrass. Pendergrass, the senior, 6'0", 190. Keanu Longa, the senior quarterback, 5'8", 155. He will have a staple of wide receivers in this game, including Damone Allen, a junior, 5'10", 175. William Hanson, the junior, 6'0", 245. Teddy Roberts, a senior, 6'0", 205. And Jeremiah Neely, the senior, 6'3", 205. We'll get their line in just a second here. Longa now from the gun. Pendergrass to his right, dropping back the pass. Going to throw toward the end zone, ball up in the air, some bumping. And it is caught for a touchdown out to Neely from 28 yards out. No flags.
Neely comes in at 6'3" tall, and he was able to go up there. That was a high pass. He was able to go up there and get it, and so St. Francis turns that pooch kick that worked out for them into points, and they score first and have the lead over the Hilltoppers.
The Red Raiders, PAT is up, and it is good. So Mario Camillo, the senior kicker, pushes it through, and after 50 seconds to play, it is St. Francis 7 and Chardon nothing.
Tonight's special Cablecast is funded by your cable subscriber franchise fees, and we'd like to again extend thanks to all the GTV funding communities, including those not funding tonight's contest, for their year-round support. They are Chardon Township, Middlefield Village, Munson Township, and partially funded by the City of Chardon. Thanks again for supporting GTV, and thanks to all our viewers for their support.
Mario Camillo will kick for the Red Raiders.
For what it's worth, they jumped out to a 7-0 lead against Benny as well. Toppers defense, though, Ryan, giving up another touchdown through the air, and that is starting to become a little bit problematic.
Yeah, and that was just a situation where he had a big receiver, so the quarterback was able to throw a jump ball and know his guy at 6'3" was going to be the one to be able to climb the ladder and get there, and he did, and he brings it down in the end zone for the touchdown.
Now, if Neely is up against Bruce or Hugh, A.J. Bruce is 5'11". I didn't see who it was, but yeah, Bruce 5'11", Caleb 5'10", so I mean that's almost 6 inches of a height right there. Ball going to be brought back up the field, coming near side across the 40-yard of the Hilltoppers, and they will start in some good field position. Will Francis going to come out on the field, the senior QB, 5'9", 160. Behind him, we'll see Vinny Columbia, the fullback, a junior, 5'10", 193. A.J. Bruce, the senior, 5'11", 185. Drago Vuyaclia, the senior, 5'10", 181. And Caleb Hewitt, the junior, 5'10", 167. Andrew Baggett, the sophomore, 6'5", 270 is the tight end. See some Charlie Brock in there as well at tight end, the senior, 6'0", 202. Francis from the gun sends Bruce in motion, and Francis going to go up the gut. Francis near midfield for a nice gain on first down.
Hey, a little misdirection on the first play. You're going to fake that sweep to Bruce, and then you're going to keep it yourself and right up the gut. Plenty of room, 6 yards, second and 4, so good movement on the first play offensively.
Ball spotted right at midfield. Chardon wearing their black uniforms, red numbers trimmed in white, working their way left to right across your TV screen. Francis from the gun sends a man in motion. That's Caleb Hewitt going to fake it. And Francis across the 45, down near the 43, first down, Hilltoppers.
Oh, that was a big hole over there on the right side for him to run to. Plenty enough space to pick up that first down. So good work by the offensive line here on the first two plays, opening up big holes for their quarterback to run through.
Well, you mentioned the O-line. It starts with Tredell Graves, the junior, 6'3", 255 at left tackle. From left to right, we've got Colin Udath, the senior, 6'2", 230. Vince Boleto, the junior, 6'2", 236. Trevor Winters, the right guard, the sophomore, 6'3", 295. And Logan Bryant, the senior, 6'0", 255. Topper's going to try running it right side. Hewitt willing his way near the 40-yard line. Some tight coverage. Coming up was Jeremiah Neely to help make that stop. Also saw Keanu Longa in there as well.
Yeah, Neely does a nice job there. He was able to come in and step into a gap, not let Hewitt turn the corner, and he was able to chase Hewitt down after that.
We'll get you the St. Francis starters here after this plate. 2nd and 7, Hilltoppers from the Red Raider 41. Columbia now going to move over left side of Francis. Vuiaclia goes in motion, and it's Francis who picks up the first down, and more left side, bouncing 30 and out near the 28.
Well, in the early going, it's all the Chardon offensive line. Once again, they open a huge hole, this time on the left side, for Francis to run through. And you can see those linebackers bit on the sweep a little bit. It opened up some space, and an easy first down run again for Will Francis.
Now it's what the Hilltoppers want to do, take some time off the clock, control it. Henneman, the split end out right side. A.J. Bruce, they're going to pitch it out to him. Jet sweep coming right. And he's tripped up and brought down by the outside linebacker, Pendergrass. Loss on that play of a couple.
Yeah, Pendergrass is able to get around his defender there and get into the backfield, and Bruce is dropped for a loss. The first negative play on this drive for the Hilltoppers.
For St. Francis, the starters on the D-line include Shane Geiser, the senior, 6'4", 245. Slade Gonzalez, a senior, 6'3", 265. Michael Harris, a junior, 6'4", 260. And Ethan Metro, the senior, 6'1", 200. Francis gets back to the original line of scrimmage and not much more after that. Got some pressure there, but Peyton Johnson, the nose tackle, in there to help make the stop. Boy, he's a big boy, 6'2", 290.
Yeah, he was able to get in there, get the stop. You had Kendall and Metro coming in and providing pressure from either side on the outside and really closing that space up on Will Francis.
Starting linebackers for the Red Raiders include Pendergrass, 6'0", a senior, 190. Teddy Roberts, a senior, 6'0", 205. And Brady Greeno, a senior, 6'1", 225. Francis looking to throw. And he got it away. They're going to say incomplete pass, as did all he could to just not to get sacked on that play. That'll bring up 4th down.
And it was Ethan Metro once again. He came into the backfield from the near side of the field and chased Will Francis all the way down. Francis must have heard the footsteps. He got that throwaway just in time because what's coming from behind him was Metro.
Now Leo Columbia will enter the game. 4th and 11 Toppers going for it from the St. Francis 29. What will Don Novacek do here? They fake it to the big man. Francis looking to throw. Toward the outside, all alone, Caleb Hewitt hauls it in. Touchdown, Toppers! But wait, there's a flag, and it's coming back.
Flag on the field right at the line of scrimmage. That one.
Illegal man downfield.
It was a great play call there. It was, you got out of the pocket on a rollout to get away from that pressure, and they were expecting something of a rush. There was no defender downfield. You had 2 wide open receivers in the end zone. Fortunately, you had a lineman who got downfield.
Ryan, you and I were talking about this as we were walking back to our seats following a chat with the coaches, and we were concerned about penalties, and again, rearing its ugly head, taking 7 off the board for the Toppers. Francis having to step up in the pocket, sacked. Greeno got to him.
The 6'1", 225-pound linebacker able to get into the backfield, and Will Francis goes down. And you were talking about those penalties, Matt, and it was last week against Avon Lake. We talked about the penalties. When they would come at really inopportune times. That was 1 5-yard penalty on that drive, but it came at the most inopportune time. And it takes a touchdown off the board, and now a sack later. And St. Francis, already up by a touchdown, has the ball at their own 38. Good starting field position here.
Yep.
37, excuse me.
Keanu Lunga We'll hand it off Pendergrass. Pendergrass up the middle across the 40, out near the 41-yard line. Pickup of about 4 or 5 on that run.
Brought down by Alexander Ash.
Alexander Ash gets in there to get the stop, but nice little 4-yard run there for St. Francis to get this drive started.
Now, Alexander, the heart of this defense, 43 tackles on the year, leading everybody on the Hilltopper side. Pendergrass again gets the call, looking to go left side, and he is dragged down, and once again it's Ash on the stop. He got him by the ankles and wouldn't let him go.
Yeah, again, great work by Alexander Ash. He gets in there, able to bring him down, but he was able to drag Ash for about 4 yards, so it's a 3rd and 2 here for St. Francis now.
From their own 45, Ulanga from the gun. We'll give it to Pendergrass again, going ahead. He's fighting. He's near that line. He's near that first down marker, and this will be close. It's going to depend on the officials, and they say move the chains.
Got enough for the first down as Hilltoppers were bringing a couple linebackers into the backfield, and Pendergrass was able to run right past that blitz, get just enough for the first down.
New set of downs for St. Francis from their own 48. 2 receivers to the right, and a Hilltopper goes offsides.
Now that was...
Beckett Dotson got into the neutral zone, causing one of the Red Raiders to jump.
Yeah, gets right into that neutral zone. That'll be 5 yards. You move it up.
Now, if nobody jumped and he got back on sides, that play would have continued. But, boy, you're an O lineman and you see someone come across the neutral zone, you're trained to jump.
Yep.
So 1st and 5, now into Chardon territory. Ulanga looking to throw over the middle. Ball is caught just shy of the first down. They went to...
Able to hit the receiver right there. A nice gain of about 9 yards. Quick short route as that was brought in by Job.
Two receivers left, one to the right. Pendergrass will be given the ball, and Pendergrass wrapped up immediately and hit loss on that play.
Yeah, he was trying to go to the right side, and the Hilltoppers were able to get in there and make the big stop. Couple of ball hawks get in there. 3 guys bring him down, and you got a 3rd down and 2.
Well, Austin Green, though, comes up limping on that play, and so does the big man, their right tackle, the St. Francis, Tim McCann, who has to go off the field as well.
Austin Green made a great play, though, getting into that backfield and getting the initial stop.
Timeout.
St. Francis going to take a timeout. Ryan, you've got some wise words for us.
These are wise words, Matt. A great group of concerned citizens in cooperation with Chardon Schools and the Chardon Athletic Boosters wants to build permanent restrooms and a concession stand at Chardon Memorial Field. We all agree these improvements are needed after 24 seasons in the new stadium. Donations large and small are needed. Be sure to check chardonathletics.org for details or call Terry Hegner at 440-226-6367. The plan is to have the new additions completed in time for next fall. It would be real great to get some restroom facilities here into this stadium and a nice new space for concessions as well.
3rd down and 2 as we return from the timeout. Pistol formation for St. Francis. 3rd and 2. And they're going to run the football, and no! Lazinski gets in there. Boy, Lazinski, who they moved down to the D-line, sometimes switching him back to the outside linebacker, coming and making a big stop, and it's 4th down.
Lazinski was in the backfield so fast, looked like he shocked Pendergrass. Pendergrass fell down when he saw him, and Lazinski came over and finished it up after that.
Lazinski, that's his 4th and a half tackle for a loss on the year. And you got to give him credit. The young man just finds a way to make plays.
That was a big play there, and it was when the team needed it to. You're on the third down. They're able to stop this drive, and you're going to get the football back now.
And that brings Grant Zebchinski. Gonna ask him Yak Shamash later on. Ethnic joke, folks, never mind. High punt. Gonna take a Red Raider bounce inside, close to that Hilltopper 20.
So Chardon's going to have a long field here for their second drive of the game. Offense was moving the football well early in that first drive, but St. Francis really stalled them out there. Let's see what the Hilltoppers come out with here on drive number 2.
Was interesting. You look at last week, the difference between the first and second half of that Avon Lake game when Hilltoppers decided to switch to 2 tight ends. Doesn't look like that they're doing it right now, but wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that at some point tonight. Looking to run it left side, Drago Vuyaklia with the carry, and Vuyaklia may be back to the line of scrimmage.
No, it's going to depend on the opponent and what you see. Adjustments. Yeah, it was a halftime adjustment last week. They saw how the game against Avon Lake was playing out, and they felt like against that opponent in particular, going to the 2 tight end set would work, and boy, did it work for them in the second half of that game. So, it's a great offensive staff here. I'm sure they'll talk about some things, and they'll come out with whatever adjustments they need to make.
Now, speaking of another tight end, Charlie Brock coming into the game. So they are going 2 tight ends right now. Francis going to carry it. Francis across the 25, down near the 26, 21-yard line, beg your pardon. Lost my spot on the field.
It's a nice job there on a second down run by Will Francis. So he sets up a third down and manageable now for the team. They're looking at about a 3rd down and 4 here after being on 2nd and 9. So good work by Francis.
Toppers would love to eat some time off the clock here, have a long, drawn-out drive that puts up 7. Francis going to go up the middle again. He is hit.
Francis on the keeper.
Michael Harris, the defensive tackle, got him.
Harris did a nice job there. Not in on the tackle, but Jimmy Valentine. He stayed home on the outside there, so when Will Francis wanted to cut left, there was nowhere for him to cut. He was forced to run back into Harris. Just a nice job done there by the Red Raiders on defense. They stayed at home. They didn't bite on the fake sweep. They were able to get the stop.
Galanak with the punt. Going to take a topper bounce across the 35 and stop around the 30. Well, you have to wonder right now, Ryan, if it's the size of these Red Raiders that are hurting the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, it's been 2 drives so far. And again, initially, those first 3 or 4 plays, there were big holes opening up. One thing, the Red Raiders, after those first few plays, they're doing a better job of being disciplined and staying home. They're not biting on those fakes. They're staying on their assignments. And that's not opening up a lot of those big holes to have the backs run through and have an opportunity.
7-0 is the score. 2:29 to go here in the first quarter. Appreciate you being a part of this one here on GTV. Ulanga from the gun will hand it off. That's not Pendergrass. That's a different running back. This time the give is to number 8. And that's Robert Kendall.
Austin Lazinski gets in there and gets the stop. Nice work by Lazinski, keeping it to a short gain of 1. Brings up 2nd down and 9.
Gain of a yard on the play.
Seen Kendall on the defensive side now. Carry on the offensive side. More of a fullback compared to Pendergrass. Ulanga, that's actually Landon Welka in at QB. Welka going to throw it down the field right side. It is caught. Tucker Joby picks up the first down.
Great work there by Joby. Runs a nice route, heads to the sideline, able to get enough space between him and the defender to make a catch, move the chains.
Well, didn't expect to see this, but Landon Welka, the junior, 6'0", 160, now in piloting St. Francis. Pendergrass re-enters the game. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Flags. Throw it is caught. Hit and shy of midfield. Spun around as William Hansen. And let's see who will be penalized.
Kenny Fryhoff got in there on the stop, but we'll see what the flag is.
Sideline warning.
Sideline warning against the Red Raiders.
So that play will count. It'll be second down and about 6 now.
2nd and 6, Red Raiders.
So Welka from the gun. We'll hand it off. Pendergrass looking to go around the left side, taking a number of Hilltoppers with him across midfield down to about the 46.
Yeah, gets off to the left side. He gets out in the open field, and it's a tough tackle in the open field. He made some nice moves pushing guys around. Caleb Hewitt, eventually the topper, who's able to bring him down. 3rd and short coming here now for St. Francis.
Well, Terrence had 140 rushing yards against Benedictine, and again, he's a senior, 6'0", 190. You'd say more a typical Division I college running back than what you normally see here in Ohio. They get to Pendergrass again, and he's going to fall forward for the first down. Hilltoppers got him, but second effort kept those legs moving and fell the right way.
Strong run by Pendergrass, got behind that big offensive line and just let everything push him forward, and it was enough to move the chains. Just enough to move those chains right to the line to gain.
Clock begins to run now, under 50 seconds here in the first quarter. Welka remains in the game. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Looking to go left side down the sideline, ball in the air, and he overthrows his target, Keegan Brunet.
Good coverage there by Caleb Hewitt. He was step for step there. Throws a jump up there, see if he can get there, but Caleb Hewitt wasn't giving him any space to operate. Nice job there by Hewitt.
2nd and 10. Got to give the Hilltoppers defense credit. They have had a lot thrown at them, literally. A ton of different players coming into this game. A lot of different formations, and done a good job so far. The give and nothing going there. Fryhoff said, no way, Jimmy Valentine.
Yeah, great play there by Fryhoff, getting right there in the backfield. Nowhere for Jimmy Valentine to go. No one really covered Fryhoff there as the linebacker races into the backfield and gets the stop.
That is will be the last play of the first quarter. St. Francis will head to the second, up 7-0 here at Chardon Memorial.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Roniak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs, Residence Artists, El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, WeWereAthletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
Welcome back, everyone. Chardon Memorial Field. Matt Jaworski and Ryan Radke with you. It will be 4th down and 13 for St. Francis. They tried a pass play to Jeremiah Neely, who had to come back to it, but could not hang on as he was diving back toward the football. And Grant Zepchinski out to punt for the second time today. His first one was pretty darn good. A.J. Bruce standing at his 10. Zepchinski shanked that one. Will be touched up around the 32.
So Hilltoppers will get good field position off of that, as that punt doesn't go very far, and much better than the last punt, which pinned them inside their own 20. They're going to get out with some nice space to operate. Been outgained 73-29 so far by St. Francis in the first quarter. St. Francis has really dominated time of possession as well in this one.
Well, looking at that first quarter, what does the Hilltoppers need to do here to start to get some yardage? Well, how about that? A.J. Bruce! Bruce across the 45 near midfield. Scissor play. First time we've seen that one this year.
Scissor play, I think, would be a good way to go, Matt. If I were the Hilltoppers, that's what I'd be thinking right now. You run that scissor play, you'll pick up the first down, give it to, I don't know, a guy like A.J. Bruce, and just let him go and see what happens.
Love the way you think.
Yes.
Toppers 1st and 10 from their own 48-yard line. And great to, that's AJ's biggest run of the year right there.
Yeah, and he is going to be a key weapon on this offense. He's got a lot of speed and athleticism.
Give it to the big man, Columbi, and Vinny Columbi will be stopped short at midfield.
Yeah, he was able to get a couple. So you move it up a little bit. He had a big game a week ago against Avon Lake. They're looking to get him going here in this one.
His brother's going to bring in the play from the sidelines. We'll line up as the split on right side. It's Leo. They will give it to Drago. Drago has running room to the 30, the 20, and Bouya gone! 51-yard touchdown to start the second quarter.
Well, and that was the wrinkle the Hilltoppers came with, right? They reversed the eyes again. So in the first quarter, it was you were faking the jet sweep, and running up the middle, or you were going with the sweep. This is twice now. They've reversed it, so you fake the sweep, and then instead of going up the middle, you give it to a back to go the other direction. Both times St. Francis wasn't ready on the other side. That was a wide open hole for Vuya Klila to the left. And the Hilltoppers, quick strike, get in there for the touchdown.
And now Sasserich out to attempt the PAT and knock this game back up.
There's another flag on the play.
And now a flag on the play.
There was a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on St. Francis.
A dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct call against St. Francis.
Second sideline warning.
They received their second sideline warning.
Sideline infraction.
Yeah, I was going to say, the second one's not a warning anymore. That's
infraction.
Yep.
Thank you. Yep. Coach Hewitt, though, going to keep the PAT team on the field. Can't blame him. It's early.
Want to get that point, tie things back up. Last thing you want to do is be chasing a point later in the game.
Good snap. Kick is underway. It splits the uprights, and it is good. With 10:35 to go here in the second quarter. Chardon ties this game up at 7.
Well, here's some info about Hilltopper football live streaming. GTV is not able to stream away games. The only games that can be streamed are home games and some playoff games. GTV does not have the budget to live stream the games, so the Hilltopper Gridiron Club has stepped up to pay the production costs through their solicitation for underwriters. The site to go to for live streaming of Hilltopper football is chardonathletics.org. There is a $10 subscription charge that goes to Chardon schools. Be sure to tune in each week for every home Hilltopper football game. Catch the live stream at chardonathletics.org.
The sideline infraction with a 5-yard penalty. Add on a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct.
So you tack on, get this, the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, the 5-yard sideline infraction.
Well, they had the unsportsmanlike conduct already. That flag was thrown after the touchdown before the PAT. And then you had the sideline infraction as we were getting ready for the PAT. Probably someone's still not happy about the unsportsmanlike conduct call. Got the sideline infraction called, so.
You've got them bunched up now. I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, did you just say the heck with it, put it through the end zone and just make them go 80 yards if they want to score? Or do you try to do something different here and maybe go for an onside kick or something like that, Sam? Toppers will go for the onside kick. And it looks like St. Francis came up with it.
Yeah, they were ready for that possibility. I mean, why not go for that onside kick there, right? There's not much difference between the 20 and the 30, especially with the Hilltopper defense, so give it a shot.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Do you see Chardon do that again, maybe to try to start the second half, a little bit of payback?
We'll have to wait and see.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. We'll find out. Time will tell. Could also depend on the score, too. See who's it in QB. Remains Landon Welka. Welka will hand it off. Pendergrass looking for a cut now. He's going to try to cut backside. Breaks a couple tackles. Pendergrass able to gain a few yards on that play up to the 35-yard line. Lost his helmet on the play and lost his shoe as well. Boy, Hilltoppers trying to pull everything off of him they could to bring him down.
Yeah, he did such a great job being able to shake off a couple of defenders to get positive yardage, but it was Alexander Ash who was eventually able to get to him and bring him down.
Well, when you are 6'0", 190, you can carry a few guys with you.
He's a strong runner.
And it's why you have to tackle them and just not try to knock them down on two. Handoff. Valentine was hit high, was hit low, and the Hilltoppers stopped him for a short gain on second down. Ash again in on that stop.
Yeah, that was a great fundamental tackle that time. You get in there, you bring him down. Leo Columbi in on the play as well. You get in there, you get him wrapped up, you bring him down.
It is 3rd and 2 from their own 39. Welka will send two receivers to each side. Pendergrass to his right, back in the game. Looking to throw it up middles. Nearly intercepted. Boy, a couple of Hilltoppers, including Vinny Columbi, had a chance to pick it off. It was him and Beckett Dotson, and neither could come up with it.
Yeah, but they got to the... I mean, Beckett Dotson jumped that route. He knew exactly where the quarterback was going to throw it. Good eyes there. He was able to jump. He just couldn't catch it.
Did Columbi maybe get in his way?
I couldn't tell from our angle. I just know that Dotson knew where that throw, and he jumped right in front of the tight end and nearly caught it.
It is 4th down and 2, and look at this. They are going for it. Trips to the near side. Cowbells are clanging. They're calling an audible. They move Pendergrass to his right. They hand it off to Pendergrass, trying to get around the edge. He's hit hard, and he picks up the first down near the 45.
Hey, that's a good play call there by St. Francis because, you're sitting here thinking, all right, 4th and 2, their plan is to get behind those big offensive linemen, get the strong Pendergrass up the middle, and then they bounce him out to the outside, and they're able to get the first down and move the chains and keep the drive going.
Schematically, though, a great call. They had the ball lined up on the right side hash mark. You put trips to the right. 3 blockers out there already. You only needing 2 yards. I like the call.
It was a good play call.
Pendergrass will come out. Jimmy Valentine going to come in the game. Welka going to step up in the pocket, going to run across midfield 50, and he's brought down. Looked like it was Austin Green on the stop around the 49.
Well, St. Francis was really able to do a good job of opening up that left side. I mean, I don't really know how the left side got so open, Matt, but it got open, and he was able to run through there and pick up about 7 yards. Probably some holding out there that didn't go called. St. Francis gets 7 yards on the run.
Don't know if that was necessarily a designed run for Welka, but
it's just what happened.
He made the most of it.
It's just what happened.
So 2nd and 3 now in Hilltopper territory on the 48. Welka from the gun sends a man in motion. They will hand it off Valentine, who's pushed ahead and will pick up the first down across the 45 to near the 44. They've had some good hits, but you got to credit the Red Raiders running backs because they have done an excellent job tonight of falling forward and falling across the first down.
Well, and you've got, strong runners too. You got, Pendergrass comes in at 6 foot 190. Valentine comes in 5'10", 180. Kendall comes in 5'10", 230. I mean, these are running backs that are big guys with a great base. It's hard to bring them down.
Welka claps his hands, and they give it to Valentine around the right side, and he's taken out of bounds. Hilltoppers give up a couple yards on that run. It is safe to say this is the biggest offensive line, the biggest running backs that they've seen at this point in the year.
Yeah, and St. Francis right now we talked about this game would be won in the trenches, and St. Francis offensively, they've dominated time of possession because they've been winning those battles in the trenches. The offensive line for St. Francis really doing a nice job to open up holes and push things open for their backs.
They've made a couple good passes, but they've been mostly having success on the ground. Valentine again gets the ball right side, dives ahead across the 40, down inside the 39, maybe to the 38, depending on the spot.
Nice run there going to the left side.
Official's going to call a timeout. Hilltopper down on the field, and with that, we will take a timeout here on GTV. So Austin Green, the senior, 6'0", 192, being helped off the field, though, under his own power. Good sign to see.
Yeah, he's walking off right now, so hopefully that's a sign he's all right.
Welcome back, everyone, to Chardon Memorial. Matt Jaworski, Ryan Aradke with you. It is 7-7 with 7:09 to go here in the second quarter. 3rd down and 5 for St. Francis from Hamburg, New York, just outside the Nickel City. Welka looking to throw over the middle. The ball is incomplete. Looked like his receiver, Neely, the individual who caught their opening touchdown of the game, had a chance, but just couldn't haul it in.
Neely had a chance right there. He was getting open. It was a good route. The problem was the throw got there, a half second too early, and Neely just wasn't quite there yet to grab it, but that was close for St. Francis.
Well, the Hilltoppers have been vulnerable through the air so far this season, but St. Francis, it's been hit or miss with them in the passing game. 4th and 5. Welka has a man. No, he doesn't. Oh, my goodness. Kynan Ulanga the second, the brother of starting quarterback Kian Ulanga, could not hold on to it.
It looked like he just had too much going on in his mind. He knew he wasn't at the marker yet. He was trying to figure out where the sideline was because he knew he had to get the first down, and I just think he had so much going on in his mind with where are my feet and what am I going to do that he just never caught the football, and it goes through his hands. Where he was going to catch, I think it would have been tough for him to stay in bounds and get the first anyway, but I think that's why he didn't catch it. He was just trying to think about too much as that ball was coming at him.
Hilltoppers defense makes a stand, and now let's see what they can do. Francis going to drop back to pass, looking to throw over the middle. The ball is caught across the 40 near the 35-yard line. First down, Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers as it's Leo Colombi with the catch, his first of the year.
Yeah, that's such a big throw, too, by Will Francis to maybe open this field up a little bit. I mean, St. Francis is pulling everyone inside. You only had one guy out there, one-on-one. Colombi runs a great route, has a step, and Francis delivers the throw directly to the spot.
We saw in the first 3 games of the year Will Francis struggle with throwing. Not been the case so far in this one. Toppers go back to the ground, and WeWereAthletes gets it again, and WeWereAthletes off to the races, one man to beat, end zone, touchdown, Toppers!
Same play WeWereAthletes scored on last time, except for this time they ran it to the right instead of the left. And again, you reverse the direction, you get the defense looking one way, WeWereAthletes runs past everyone the other way, and it's 2 big plays, and the Hilltoppers are in the end zone. So it's a little bit of a different script than usual. St. Francis has had some long drives today, and the Hilltoppers are coming out with 2 plays, and they're in touchdown drives.
The Toppers take the lead for the first time tonight, and now Sam Sostridge out to attempt a PAT. Kick is up, and it is good with 6:36 to go here. Chardon strikes again, and they now lead 14-7.
And this is where the Hilltopper defense is so good, Matt, is you're going to get out there and they will almost always give you a stop in this situation. They're a very reliable defense, get you the football back and really help you take control of this game.
50-50 raffle tickets from the athletic boosters. Also, there are people from the Minds Matters group selling.
That was a 33-yard run.
That are situated in the end zone. Thank you to Trader Joe's.
You know, with all the backs and all the skills in this offense, it's almost like it's a different guy every week. You know, WeWereAthletes this week, 2 touchdown runs. Last week you saw, Vinny Colombi had the huge game. It's almost like it's a different guy every week who can take over and go.
I love it, though.
Yep,
it means
awesome.
You can't key in on any one person. And you look at WeWereAthletes, the young man, a senior, he waited. We saw glimpses of him last year. Even to start this year was a little bit here, a little bit there. And we were talking to Coach Hewitt last week after the game, and he mentioned him. And he said, we saw some things that we know is there. We just got to do a better job getting him the football. They've done it tonight.
And it's worked out in a big way for the Hilltoppers and for him.
And that's a great weapon to have because it allows you to maybe give A.J. Bruce, Caleb Hewitt a breather. Let them focus a little bit more on their cornerback positions where they're not running as much.
That would be huge for this team.
Pendergrass going to watch it bounce. Takes it at the 1. And that was not a good decision. He's brought down near the 5. And that was a huge hit by the Toppers special teams as it upended him.
Well, that ball just kind of died at the 1, and it looked like it might not roll in. I think that's what Pendergrass was thinking. So then he decided, if it's not going to roll in, I better pick this up, as that ball really got deadened when it hit the 1. And so that is a good break for the Hilltoppers. They do a great job of getting down there and bringing him down.
First and 10, St. Francis from the 5-yard line.
First and 10 from their own 5. Pendergrass going to run it right side, and he is wrapped up and brought down after picking up maybe 5 yards on that run.
Pendergrass, the ball carrier.
Able to do a nice job, pick up 5.
Boy, it's starting to get chippy now. Look at that. Pendergrass for the second time lost his helmet in this one. And Coach Hewitt is coming out on the field. And he's talking with a couple of his players, and he's not happy, and I can't blame him. He doesn't want any penalties here.
No, and so Coach Hewitt came out and made sure they knew, don't get drawn in.
They go to the running game again, and the Hilltoppers bringing the fight. Flags coming out. I couldn't tell who the running back was on that carry.
I mean, I'm surely positive that there had to be holding on that. That's what the flags have to be for.
Personal foul, face masking against the Hilltoppers.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. Could you see who was carrying the ball? Do you think you could see who was grabbing a face mask? Do you think that's something you could have seen in that situation?
I'm going to trust the officials, my friend. They have a much better view. We're sitting here on the 35 of Chardon. All the way on the other end. Jimmy Valentine in the game. He is the running back. They fake it to him. Looking to run the football is Welke. Looking to throw it, chucks it up in the air. It is caught! Oh, boy! Damona Allen with a big catch into Chardon territory on the 30.
I mean, he just let that ball go. He was in trouble. He was rolled out of the pocket. His receiver coming down the sideline was covered. He had another receiver from the far side cutting across the middle, so he throws back across his body and just chucks it up there and hopes for the best, and lo and behold, he's got Allen down there to make the catch.
Wow. That's not a play you see too often in high school. 1st and 10 now from the 30. Welke dropping back the pass to throw it. Left side up in the air. Incomplete. And a late flag coming out.
You know, Matt, they're both jousting for position.
Are they going to say it's because Bruce didn't turn his head? But you can get away with that. I don't know.
I mean, they're both shoving each other. The football hasn't come down yet. And they're going to call it. But now St. Francis has a right to be angry. They're both fighting for that football. I mean, that's one where you feel like if you're an official, you need to leave your flag in the pocket. No one caught it. They're battling for the ball. Just let that one go.
Tend to agree with you on that one. While the officials are marking this one off, want to say a big GTV hello and shout out to Dennis and Lillian Graw watching this one. Appreciate them.
Yeah, 15 yards on that pass interference.
Always tuning in. Always appreciate that. Big Hilltopper football
Some of our most loyal viewers.
Hands down.
3rd penalty against St. Francis, 35 penalty yards for them now.
1st and 25. Welke dropping back the pass, feeling some pressure, throws it. Pendergrass has it wrapped up and brought down on the Hilltopper sideline. And boy, Pendergrass shoving. His helmet comes off. Coach Hewitt trying to separate Logan Bryant.
Man, this is only the 2nd quarter. This is early for it to be this chippy already, Matt.
Well, the last time we've seen a team come in and have this kind of chippiness, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against the Red Raiders. That'll move them back 15. Was First Baptist last year in Florida.
Last time Chardon played an out-of-state school, they came up with some chippiness, and you're right. I remember that was one too, where early in the game you started to see these scrums popping up.
That First Baptist Academy game, I mean, if I recall, one of their players was actually ejected from the game.
Yes, that's correct. That did happen. I'm trying to remember the exact circumstance. I do remember that it did happen.
I believe it was choking Alex Henry.
Oh, man, this is 2nd down and about 40 now for St. Francis.
Well, maybe you see Welke go to the air again to Allen. Why not?
2nd and 50. They have to get to the 20. They're at the 39. It's a long way.
Welke, quick out toward the sidelines. It's caught by Ulanga. The 2nd races up across the 50. And that will bring up 3rd and forever.
Yeah, now your St. Francis is just about running plays for field position. You're not worried about scoring on this drive, obviously. You're just going to run another play for field position. See if you get close enough to maybe give yourself a shot where you're going for it on 4th down and not punting? See what happens here.
Or do you just punt and try to trap Chardon deep? Again,
depends on how many yards you get here.
Walka through the air, down the sideline, right side, incomplete. Good coverage by the Hilltoppers.
And now you're punting.
I believe that was Drayton Allgood in on the coverage.
Well, it's St. Francis with the penalty problems on this drive, setting themselves back and forcing themselves to punt it away.
See if A.J. Bruce can make something happen here. He's standing on his 12. Zebchinski, bit of a high snap, brings it back down. Decent punt. Will take a bounce. And picking it up. A.J. Bruce had to hold my breath there for a second. That took a weird bounce.
Man, he showed great concentration, though, Matt. That ball took that weird bounce on him, and he managed to stay right with it and secure that football and bring it in.
I should know this, but I'm not certain. AJ, does he play baseball too?
Yes.
That's why. That was the kind of play you see baseball players
That's
make.
right. Yep.
Toppers will take over up by 7. 4:25 to play here. 1st and 10 from their 24. Francis rolling out near side. This play's coming back as he escapes to about the 35, but that flag will go against Chardon.
Yeah, some holding out there. It's a big defensive lineman out there, and he gets held. So that's, it's spot foul. The flag's at the 19, so that's where it's at. Hilltoppers are being pushed back from there, not from the line of scrimmage.
Stand there, let him run in there.
Been a lot of hankies today.
Well, a lot in the past few minutes. That's going to be the third against Chardon now, I believe. I believe it was 2 and 20 before this. I think that would be 3 and 30 now. 4 and 50 against St. Francis, but 3 of the 7 flags have come in the past 5 minutes. So.
Gonna go to the ground. Francis trying to get around the edge. Has a blocker. Is tripped up after a short gain on the play.
That was Pendergrass coming in and getting the stop on Will Francis. Stays 2nd and long. Picked up a few yards, though.
We'll move to 2nd and about 15. Ball on the 18. Topper sent 2 receivers left. Francis looking to throw. Gonna go down the middle. Caleb Hewitt has it near midfield. 1st down, Toppers.
Great job by the offensive line. They gave Will Francis plenty of pocket to work in, and then a nice job by Caleb Hewitt. Able to get away from his receiver, get a step, make the catch. Nicely done on both sides of that, and the Hilltoppers have the passing game working tonight, Matt.
A big throw.
You're talking about what wrinkle could you throw in to get moving. The passing game would be a nice one to get going, and it is here tonight.
It's helped take some heat off Francis. And now they give it to Bruce on the scissor play, who will fall forward for a couple.
Still able to get a couple of yards. St. Francis able to stay with that one there.
Will Francis came into this game just 2 of 13 for 60 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Needless to say, it's almost like the bullpen reliever mentality, short memory of him throwing, and he's just gotten back to work and he's focused, and he's done a good job tonight. 2nd and 9 from the 48. They go to the ground, running it left side is the big man, Columbia, across the 40. Now a late flag coming out.
I think they're holding against Chardon again. On the far side of that play there, a little bit of a hold. Yep.
Holding penalty, Chardon.
So you were looking at third down and short. Now you're going to be at second down and I think about 18 here based on where the flag was thrown.
Clock begins to run under 2:30 to play before halftime. Tight wing T set. Francis going to keep it himself, trying to get left side 50 as running from 45 on his feet, 40. That's close to a first down.
A huge run by Will Francis. And how about that blocking out in front of him by A.J. Bruce out there, throwing a huge block down the sideline for Will Francis.
I didn't know he could do that. It was funny. We were joking with him after the game that he's got to start making some plays, and look what he did. It'll be 3rd and 1. Needing that 1 yard, you got to think this is going to be 2-down territory for the Toppers. Backs to the right and left of Francis. He's dropping back to pass. Feeling some pressure, stepping up in the pocket. Going to throw it down the air. It's up, and it is incomplete. He was lucky, was looking for his intended target. I think that was Derek Gallinack, it was, and nearly picked off by Jeremiah Neely.
Yeah, he just kind of threw it up and was hoping for the best, but we had a penalty called against St. Francis. Roughing the passer is the call. So he threw that up hoping for the best, and he ends up drawing a roughing the passer call. And the Hilltoppers get a first down, and that's another. Man, these penalties coming against St. Francis are penalties of the big variety.
Well, what's stunning is St. Francis continuing to hang in there and battle. And they're not caring if they're giving it penalties. They're just giving it right back to the Hilltoppers in terms of physicality. Columbia straight ahead picks up a few yards on that run. And you give the Red Raiders credit. Again, last week was the first time that they had a scrimmage or anything. It was an actual game against Benedictine.
Yeah, and so this is only week number 2. They're still trying to learn some things about themselves and their team as the Hilltoppers take a timeout here. And it'll give us a chance to remind you that GTV is on Roku and Apple TV, and you can get it on your cell phone as well, either your iPhone or your Android. All you have to do is look for the Cablecast app in your store, and you'll have GTV on your phone.
I don't care who's in there. I want to play for.
Take the golden voice of Matt with you.
I don't know about golden. Coming out of this timeout, it'll be 2nd down and 7 from their own 2nd and 8 according to the scoreboard now from their own 23. A minute 51 to go. We saw Chardon last week mount one heck of a rally inside 2 minutes where they had to go much farther down the field.
Yeah, they had a great drive with under 2 minutes left in the first half last week. They're trying to replicate that this week. St. Francis will start the second half with the football. So much like that drive at the end of the half it's a key drive for the Hilltoppers to set the tone for the second half. Get a 2-score lead going into that locker room.
Caleb goes in motion. Will going to chuck it out. Caught by Caleb right side. First down and more. Knocked out of bounds. And the Hilltoppers will stop the clock after picking up the first down.
Great job by Caleb Hewitt. He ran the route where he knew he could get the first down. Got open. Francis found him. They moved the chains.
This official crew acknowledging he was out of bounds.
Yeah, that was something last week that there was issues with at the end of the half. That was probably the longest 6 seconds I've ever experienced at a football game at the end of the first half a week ago.
1st and 10 from the 11. Francis looking to throw again. Going to get it left side toward the end zone. Is he in? No. Just shy
but he gets right up to where he needed to get, so that'll be a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Hilltopper. Oh no, just short of the first down.
So Vuyaklia with the 9-yard reception will bring him 2nd down and 1 from the 2.
And from our angle, he didn't get as close to that end zone line as we thought, because he's marked inside the 2.
2-yard line for the Hilltopper.
Francis under center will hand it off. Caleb, he is in. Touchdown Toppers. Caleb Hewitt, the 2-yard touchdown run.
A great job there by Hewitt. They give it to him on the sweep run. He gets to the outside. A nice block out there, opens up the edge, and he goes right into the end zone for a critical touchdown for the Hilltoppers. Gives them a 2-score lead here late in the first half.
Sosarich again, working on another PAT. He's certainly getting his practice in this one. Kick is up, and once again, it is good with 1:34 to go before halftime. Chardon ups the lead 21-7.
That was a great drive there by the Hilltoppers. They're able to get down the field. They're able to take advantage of a St. Francis penalty that helped them keep that drive moving, and they end up in the end zone with the critical points. Well, GTV is on the internet. Our website has all kinds of great features, including video on demand. You can see our shows on your schedule. Live streaming, watch both channels anytime. GTV digital photos with over 150,000 digital pictures available that you can download for free. We have GTV's weather station and 2 live square cameras, one for Chardon and one for Middlefield. All that available now at GeaugaTV.org. They should take advantage. That's a great community resource. Take advantage of that.
Number 1, Pendergrass, and number 2,
Hey, as I always say about those square cams, it's a great way to see what's going on in my hometown today. Love it. Turn on the square cam.
Hilltoppers have found some rhythm here, some balanced offense in this second quarter. It has paid off. Folks, we want to invite you to stick around. We've got a very special halftime coming up here from Chardon Memorial. Following the performance of the world-famous Hilltopper Marching Band, it is Hall of Fame night here in Chardon. And 2 very deserving individuals will be recognized for their commitments to the Chardon community. Racing down the field right side and getting knocked out of bounds around the 45-yard line. Boy, that could have been dangerous. That was Eli Greenu.
Yeah, Hilltoppers were able to do a good job getting someone over there to force him out of bounds. Otherwise, for a second there, it looked like he might have the sideline, but good work by the Hilltoppers there.
It's one thing I've never understood, kicking it short like that with this much time. Just boot it back, boot it in the end zone, and be done with it.
And trying to keep it out of a playmaker's hand, because the last thing you want is Pendergrass to return 185 yards.
Excellent counterpoint.
So you're looking to keep it out of a playmaker's hand in that situation.
Red Raiders, 1st and 10 from the 49. Welka looking to throw, stepping up in the pocket, directing some traffic, avoiding one tackle, and now he's brought down for a sack. A bunch of black jerseys there. I saw Ash.
And you know what, Matt? That's a coverage sack there. He rolled out of the pocket, and the secondary did such a great job of having everyone blanketed. He had nowhere to throw the football, and he kept looking, and he got away from his linemen, and here came the linebackers, and there was just nowhere he could go.
You got to credit Freihoff and Kisley as well for getting in there. 2nd and 12 now from the Hilltopper 47. Looking to throw left side down the field. Ball up in the air. Incomplete. Overshot his intended target, Allen.
Again, you got great coverage down there, step for step. Allen can't get free. And they had a couple of successful pass plays early, but this Hilltopper secondary looks like they're starting to feel it right now, man.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about Drayton Allgood prior to this game, but he's been a big part of this coverage this week.
And he was on coverage down there on the far side of the field that time, and he's made a couple of nice plays in coverage tonight.
3rd and 11 from the 47. Topper showing some pressure. Throw is going to be off mark. Again, they were looking for the big man, Tucker Joby, but it should be Tucker Job, but he just could not get it. Too much pressure coming in on Welka. And I'm still trying to figure this one out because we saw for a while Keanu Longa in at QB, and then they switched it to Landon Welka. Not sure who the preferred one is, although it may just be that they're battling for it to try to figure out who they need too.
Well, I don't know. That's the other thing too. When we talk about they've only played one game this year, we don't have a whole lot to go on as to understand would this have been the plan. Is there something else we don't know about why they would change their quarterback? But it's only their second game. There's just not a lot going for them here. And now the punter finally got in for St. Francis.
Zemchinski apparently not paying attention. They had to yell for him from the sidelines. Gets it off just in time. Chardon nearly blocked that one. Bruce going to race up. And Bruce, a little bit of running room, 20 on his feet, still in bounds. And Bruce taken out of bounds now near the 25-yard line. 21 seconds to go. Pin back that deep. I'm not expecting the Hilltoppers to try anything fancy here.
Yeah, but with their offense and some of their athletes, sometimes you don't need something fancy to rip off a big run. Well, St. Francis is going to take. They want to make sure they talk about it and their players are ready in case the Hilltoppers decide to go for something here. So they're going to have a discussion as we head to the final 21 seconds. Well, please remember, nonprofit organizations from our funding communities can send us their announcements of interest at GTV. P.O. Box 336 Chardon. Fax us at 285-9897 or email us at geaugatv@windstream.net.
For the record, Hilltoppers do have 2 timeouts left. The Red Raiders with 1.
So some timeouts here to work with if you so wanted to with 21 seconds left. But this has been a good second quarter for the Hilltoppers, Matt, reminiscent of what happened last week. Last week the offense only had 19 yards in the first quarter. And then that second quarter with the reps, they really started going. 29 yards in the first quarter today. Again, you get to the second quarter, they get those reps and they really start going.
Wow. That was a long conversation on the sideline with Will Francis. Normally something like that, you're not taking a knee. Let's see what they do here. 21 to go. 1st and 10 from their 25. A.J. Bruce goes in motion. And Francis stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Some pressure coming from the right, or from the defensive end, Shane Geiser. Get in there to make that stop.
And
pickup of about a yard, and that will do it.
I would say with nothing gained there, I think now you let the half run out. You got the 2-score lead headed into the locker room, and it was a big second quarter for the Hilltoppers.
Hilltoppers will head into the locker room up by a 21-7 mark over the St. Francis Red Raiders of Hamburg, New York. Folks, we again invite you to stick around. We have the Hilltopper Marching Band, and that will be followed by Hall of Fame induction ceremonies here from Chardon Memorial. Appreciate you listening to this one again at halftime. It is Chardon 21 and St. Francis 7.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Ronyak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy. TJ Smith Excavating. Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs.
Residence Artists.
El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, We Were Athletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
The band would like to thank all of our parents and parent volunteers for their time and support so far this year. Our show tonight features music by top-selling pop icon Katy Perry. From the award-winning album Teenage Dream, here is Last Friday Night, TGIF. Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a journey with our outstanding Topperettes, led by our squad leaders, Rebecca Fullerman, Gloriasia Dunn, Brooke Mish, Jocelyn Coles, Kellen Gort, and Shelby Spence. Here is another Katy Perry hit tune, California Girls. Our closing selection was released in 2010 and is celebrated as an anthem of self-expression and confidence. In our version, our band shows their dance moves, our drumline plays a drum break composed by the seniors, and our featured twirler, Savannah Flesher, twirls 3 batons to simulate the subject of the song. Here is Katy Perry's Firework. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Chardon High School Fight Song. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the 50-yard line. Tonight, the Chardon High School Athletic Department is pleased to welcome 2 new inductees to the CHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Our first Hall of Fame inductee is Coach Bill Overton. Bill Overton, affectionately known as Coach O, started at Chardon High School in 1975 as an intervention specialist and assistant coach for the Hilltopper football team. He taught at CHS for 35 years before retiring in 2010. Coach O has the legendary distinction of coaching Chardon football in 5 different decades, serving as offensive line coach and offensive coordinator. He coached on the 1994, 2020, and 2021 Chardon football state champion teams and the 1998 state runner-up team. Let me repeat that. He was a state champion, still on top of his coaching game during the 2020 and 2021 seasons. Additionally, Coach Overton served as Chardon head baseball coach for 13 years from 1985 through 88 and 1996 to 2004. Coach Bob Doyle said of Coach Overton, "This is a well-deserved honor, and I'm grateful for all Coach Overton has done for Chardon football for so many years." Coach Mitch Hewitt added, "Coach O is revered by all who have played for him and all of us who have been blessed to coach alongside him. It is safe to say that without Coach O, there are no state titles." Coach Overton is currently living in Chardon with his wife and is represented tonight by his daughter Rachel Overton Carlson, her husband Sean, and his granddaughters May Pearl and Annabelle, and by his son Bryant and his wife Christine. Please welcome Coach Bill Overton to the CHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Our second inductee is Perry Miklas, Chardon class of 1989. Perry Miklas was a three-sport athlete at Chardon High School, but is best known as a Hilltopper football player. He was a three-year varsity letterman in 1987, 1988, and 1989, playing running back on offense and linebacker on defense, and earned first-team Chagrin Valley Conference and all Geauga County honors in each of those 3 seasons. The 1987 Hilltoppers made the first OHSAA playoff appearance in school history and faced the #1 ranked team in Ohio. Perry scored the winning touchdown in overtime to propel Chardon to its first playoff victory. Perry was named the News Herald Offensive Player of the Year in 1988 and News Herald Defensive Player of the Year in 1989. He was the Hilltopper Defensive MVP his senior year in 1989 and also earned All-Ohio honors in 1988. The Cleveland Plain Dealers selected Perry as their Offensive Player of the Year in 1987 and a linebacker on their Dream Team in 1989. After graduation, Perry played college football for 2 years at Baldwin Wallace University and was an electrician in the IBEW Local Number 38. Perry passed away in 2022. He is represented here tonight by his mother, Donna Miklas, stepfather, John Miklas, his sister Katie, brother Steve, and his daughters, Peyton Tadanetti and Riley Tadanetti, both of whom are Chardon graduates and very successful Hilltopper athletes. Please welcome Perry Miklas to the CHS Athletic Hall of Fame.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Ronyak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs,
Residence Artists,
El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, We Were Athletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
And welcome back, everyone, to Chardon Memorial. Matt Jaworski, Ryan Radke with you. Third quarter action just about to get underway here. Thank you for being a part of this one. Ryan, that was nearly a 200-yard outburst from Chardon in the second quarter.
Yeah, they, again, as we mentioned heading into halftime, much like last week against Avon Lake, the first quarter, the offense, scuffled a little bit, comes out in the second quarter, everything turns on, and you go, led by Drago Villaclia, who had 3 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Talk about an efficient half from Villaclia, turning 3 carries into 2 touchdowns and 86 yards.
Saucerich, the high kick can be taken at the 11 by Pendergrass, up the middle, some running room, still on his feet, breaks a few tackles across the 30, out near the 35-yard line. Boy, the big man hard to bring down when you're tackling him or hitting him up high. Got to get him low.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first half. Pendergrass, a guy at 6 foot 190. He's such a strong runner with a good base. You really got to make sure you're going in there with your fundamental tackling, especially when he's in an open field like that on a kickoff return.
21-7 is the score. St. Francis hasn't scored since the 11-10 mark of the first quarter. They handed off to Valentine going around the left side, and he did not get to turn the corner.
Yeah, he did a good job there as the Hilltoppers. He got him wrapped up and then just kind of dragging him toward the sideline to make sure that he didn't have anywhere to go. Beckett Dotson does a nice job to wrap him up.
No gain on the play.
Looks like they might give a half a yard there.
Welka remains the QB. Last week went 2 of 10 for 32 yards. He's made a couple big passes today, but other times looked a little bit off. Was not the starter, but subbed in. And now the big man, the guy who's going down to Georgia, officials had to take him off the field. I'm guessing it was an equipment issue.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. There was something.
And I can't blame him. Red Raiders head coach Jerry Smith wants an explanation.
You got to make sure you know what piece of equipment is wrong so you can fix it before you send him back out.
Yep.
No gain on the play.
Marcus Harrison, 73, the senior, 6'8", 325. Again, a commit to Georgia, left tackle. Throw over the left side, incomplete. Some great coverage. And now a flag.
That ball came in low. It skipped about 7 yards in front of the players. That's a tough interference call to take. But that is the call.
The ball wasn't even catchable!
Something I would really love to see the powers that be look into when it comes to these rules is adding in catchability or more of an effect on those throws.
I would agree with that because there's no way that he's coming back to catch that ball.
Looking to go toward the sidelines. The ball's caught, and what a upending tackle by the Hilltoppers. And on the ground, we have an injured Hilltopper. We're going to step aside after that violent collision here on GTV. Being helped up and walking off the field under his own power, Leo Columbia. That is so good to see after that scary hit.
Yeah, it's good to see him walking back to the sideline, and hopefully Leo will be all right. Be able to get back out there with his teammates.
2nd and 7 now from the 48. Welka going to hand it off to Pendergrass, who is helmet ripped off again, and that'll be a 15-yarder against the Hilltoppers.
He actually did.
Pendergrass, the ball carrier.
That helmet keeps
Flag on the play.
coming off, and yeah, they're going to get the Hilltoppers for this.
One thing you can't do if you're the Hilltoppers right now is commit those penalties and give the Red Raiders some extra yardage to work with here.
Yeah, the Red Raiders have come out here on this first drive of the half, and they've been moving the football largely behind Pendergrass, who had a nice return to open up the half. And now this penalty against the Hilltoppers is going to really put St. Francis in a good situation. But if you remember, a week ago, very similar game. Avon Lake scored a field goal on their first drive of the second half, and that was it against the Hilltopper defense in the second half.
It's interesting. They're letting Pendergrass play in this play, not having him go out. He gets the carry again, looking to go left side. He has running room, 20, 15, toward the sideline and out of bounds.
Pendergrass, the ball carrier.
Yeah, he was able to get all the way down to about the, where are they going to spot officially, 9-yard line, so he gets into great position there.
That left side just way open, and now they got to hurry to make some substitutions. Chardon going to be penalized for too many men on the field, although I don't think it's going to matter based on that run. Looks like they picked up more than what would be half the distance to the goal.
Yeah, so they'll probably decline it, but yeah, Chardon was trying to run personnel in and out, and the snap came, and they still had an extra guy out there, but I think you're right. Based on the run, you'll take... But you and I have said before, math isn't our strong suit, but we think you'll take the run.
Chardon, too many men on the field.
Well, they're taking the penalty, so... because they end up a yard further ahead. So
there we go.
There was our math on display again, Matt.
Our viewers know my math inability.
We were off by a yard.
I'll never do your taxes, I promise. First and goal from the 4. The QB going to keep it himself. No, Pendergrass has it left side, and he gets down to about the 2.
Yeah, bouncing off the left there. It was a nice play fake. And Ash again in on the stop for the Hilltoppers.
Oh, they've been finding something on that left side. They've been running that way.
Well, they're doing the same thing. They're stacking up receivers over there to be extra blockers on the short side of the field.
One missed tackle. Pendergrass reversing course, and he's brought in the backfield. A huge stop by the Hilltoppers. That was Green, Austin Green with the stop.
Yeah, great play by Austin Green. And you know, Matt, it only takes one guy getting into that backfield. He had someone get in that backfield, close off the ability to Pendergrass to go left and get behind those receivers. And then Green was able to come in and get the tackle.
Third and goal from the 8. Pendergrass remains the lone back in the backfield. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Welcome from the gun. We'll give it to his running back, who is wrapped up and brought down.
Great work at the point of the attack, as there was not a lot of push. Offensive line there.
Maddox Ciancabella, haven't called his name a lot, but he was in on that stop.
Yeah, he does a great job to get in there, right there at the line of scrimmage, get the stop. 4th and goal. And
what do you do? This is decision time for Jerry Smith. Do you go for the field goal here, or do you go for it?
They're going for it. So we don't know much about their team. They've only played one game, what the kicking is like. 4th and goal from the 7.
Welka dropping back the pass under a lot of pressure. Looking thrown, wrapped up and brought down. Hilltoppers turnover on downs. Let the cowbells ring. The O's coming back out on the field.
And there's that Hilltopper defense stepping up big time inside the 10. And they come out there, and once again, it's Alexander Ash leading the charge into a big play. And Ash gets back there with the big sack. He had some help on it, but they're able to get back there, get that stop, turn away the Red Raiders.
Defense, once again, bend but do not break.
It's the hallmark of Hilltopper football, is the defense.
Toppers will go back to work, 1st and 10 from the 12. And it's Vinny Columbi spinning around the big man across the 15 down near the 19-yard line. They go to the fullback on the dive.
He puts on a strong run of his own. Everyone's talking about Pendergrass. He comes out there moving tacklers around, spinning off of guys, picking up about 7.
Columbia Junior 5'10", 193. Similar, gives up a couple inches to Pendergrass. From what I can tell, maybe not quite as quick, but he has had some huge runs this season for Chardon and will be counted on to continue to lead this Hilltopper offense. The give. A.J. Bruce trying to cut the corner, looking for something, and is knocked out of bounds shy of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, great job there by Bruce coming to the near side. He had a stiff arm there to get a couple of extra yards. You move the chains, and you talk about A.J. Bruce is a big piece of this offense, an extra weapon. All the weapons they already have, then you can bring A.J. Bruce in to do something like that, move the chains.
But the question is, what doesn't the young man do? He's in on special teams, cover corner, like a glove on these receivers. He's done a ton of blocking this year. Carries, he's everything for this team. Handoff up the middle. Raiders snuff that one out. No gain on the play.
Was Columbia again on the run, but yeah, you talk about A.J. Bruce, he does a little bit of everything, and he's a winner. Think about his freshman and sophomore year. They were state championship years, so A.J. Bruce learned early what it meant to be a winner, and he's a winner out there on that football field.
Well, it wasn't until, if you recall, when they brought him in on the offensive side of things in that second championship run where the offense opened up, and he changed the face of this Hilltopper offense his sophomore season. 2nd and 9 from the 31. They're going to send Bruce in motion, and he gets it. Bruce looking for an opening, but nothing going there. It has been so tough for these Hilltoppers to get much to the outside against a quick and big and physical Red Raider defense.
Yeah, the Red Raiders have done a good job today of closing up that outside. The Hilltoppers have had some of their best success when they've gone to that scissor play or some reverses, but they are doing a good job, are the Red Raiders, of really making sure they take care of the edge, and there's not really anywhere for a back on a sweep run to find somewhere to turn and move up the field.
Chardon with a 3rd and 7 from their own 33. Send a man in motion. They're going to pitch it out coming near side. Columbia tries to make one man miss, will dive across the 34 to the 35, and it's going to set up a 4th and about 5.
That was Pendergrass in there on the stop. He just followed the football there, so he saw that football swing out and he got there. They were trying to use those 3 receivers in front of the play to provide a little bit of a screen, but Pendergrass was able to come in behind the screen and there was just nowhere to go.
Derek Galenick out to punt. High punt, fair catch called for, and fair catch made just past the 30.
So Hilltoppers have to punt. That's a nice defensive stand there by St. Francis. Chardon was going to have a long field. So if anything right now, if you're sitting there looking at this game as the Red Raiders, you're liking where you're at field position-wise to start this second half, as Chardon had to start deep, and now you're getting the football, at your own 32 here. That's a good field to work with, so you're at least feeling good about field position down 2 scores here in the second half.
Well, it's an offense that can strike quickly. 1st and 10. Welka still in at QB. Claps his hands, gets the ball, looking to throw. Left side, incomplete. Did not have the timing down for Keegan Brunette. And you have to wonder if you're just joining us, this St. Francis Red Raider team did not have any scrimmage. Their very first game of the year was their essentially first scrimmage of the year. It's basically a couple practices, and hey, you get to play Benedictine to start the season in Benny's week 3, and then the next thing you're doing is coming to Chardon playing the Hilltoppers in week 4. That's not easy for these kids.
No, and you wonder, just think of how much further along you are with competitive play if you are Benedictine or Chardon in that scenario than St. Francis. And I think some of that timing stuff could be attributed to these guys still trying to get on the same page. Now, it's not the quarterback they started the game with.
They're going to have to call a timeout. Play clock was set to expire. And Welka Looked like they were trying to get an audible in there, and he just was not getting anyone on the same page.
Well, hey, a great group of concerned citizens in cooperation with Chardon Schools and the Chardon Athletic Boosters wants to build permanent restrooms and a concession stand here at Chardon Memorial Field. We all agree these improvements are really needed. After 24 seasons here in the new stadium, donations large and small are needed. Be sure to check chardonathletics.org for details or call Terry Hegner at 440-226-6367. The plan is to have the new additions completed in time for next fall.
This is such a great facility. And folks, I truly hope you understand just how special of a place Chardon Memorial is, because not many high schools have this atmosphere.
No.
And to have, I just don't know how else to say it, but working toilets, it will make it so much better.
But yeah, you and I have been around to a lot of high school stadiums, Matt, and the atmosphere
Welcome looking
here
to
is
throw.
special.
Incomplete. Was it a... Okay, incomplete. Was waiting for that signal. We see it coming from the far side. I thought maybe they would say lateral, but no.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Incomplete. That was on the border.
But you're absolutely right. There's been so many stadiums that we've gone to, and you talk about the nice ones, the big ones. I mean, places like Solon and Twinsburg and Menor and them. They're nice to play, but they don't necessarily have what you guys have here.
It's quite the atmosphere here. It's very special.
Welcome going to move Pendergrass back a step. Essentially pistol. He's stepping up the pocket, feeling some pressure. Kisley nearly trips him up. A flag comes out on the play, and they get him in the backfield.
It's probably going to be a hold on St. Francis, but they have surprised us a couple of times with the call.
Now, Landon Welka very slow to get up. He needed some help from his teammates. Going to be 4th down, and the punting unit will come out.
Yeah, the call is a hold against St. Francis, and obviously Chardon's going to decline because you've got the 4th down. St. Francis is punting. You have A.J. Bruce ready to return at his own 43, so going to decline that penalty and take that loss of yardage instead.
Bruce on his 42, awaiting the punt. Zebchinski has to go up high, and it's blocked! The ball will be recovered in the end zone. Touchdown, Toppers!
They almost blocked one late in that first half. They get the block that time. That snap was not a very good snap, and that enabled the Hilltoppers to get back there and get their block, and it's recovered into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, we were wondering
that was Beckett Doxson on the recovery in the end zone.
We were wondering when we'd be seeing some huge plays from the Toppers special teams. This was it.
That's a huge swing in this game. Hilltoppers now have a 3-score lead. And it's a deflating moment for St. Francis.
PAT, how did he will that one over? My goodness.
Barely.
Sam Saucerage connects.
Woo! Scraped the top of that post and went over.
Well, check the ball for some yellow on it.
We're going to give you some info about Hilltopper football live streaming. GTV is not able to stream away games. The only games that can be streamed are home games and some playoff games. GTV does not have the budget to live stream the games, so the Hilltopper Gridiron Club has stepped up to pay the production costs through their solicitation for underwriters. The site to go to for live streaming of Hilltopper football is chardonathletics.org. There is a $10 subscription charge that goes to Chardon Schools. Be sure to tune in each week for every home Hilltopper football game. Catch the live stream at chardonathletics.org.
You have to wonder, Ryan, if we're starting to see fatigue just setting in on the part of St. Francis. 2.5-hour drive here. They are just southwest of Buffalo. So basically it was a straight shot on 90 coming here. But it makes for a long day. The Hilltoppers found that out 2 weeks back when they went to Tiffin Columbian. They'll have that same issue next week when they head down to Ohio Dominican to play Bishop Watterson. But again, just with the way that these different schedules work out, it's almost like the Raider offense is just grasping at straws, grasping for air right now. And their defense just trying to tread water. The defense is still looking good.
Yeah, I was going to say, the defense has played well. Their offense, like you said, they're maybe starting to show some signs there. It's what Chardon always does to you, right? They just keep coming at you, and they become too much to bear. That time, their quarterback took a couple of good hits on that drive that time around, and you have to wonder. And then you just have the bad snap on special teams, and the Hilltoppers able to get back there, take advantage, and it's a 3-score game, and it changes the mindset a lot, being down 2 scores to being down 3 on the road.
Well, Keon Yolanda is back in at QB. He will hand it off to Pendergrass, running right side, and Pendergrass will be close to the first down marker.
Helmet is off again.
And the young man down himself looks like cramping. I got to say, his helmet's popping off more than Jose Ramirez around in second or third.
It feels like his helmet comes off on every play, is what it feels like.
Speaking of the baseball team,
yes,
this date in '95.
What is today? Oh, this was the clinching day.
One.
Clinching day of that first Central Division title.
Yep.
Well, hey, we'd like to again extend thanks to all the GTV funding communities, including those not funding, for their year-round support. They are Chardon Township, Middlefield Village, Munson Township, and partially funded by the city of Chardon. Thanks again for supporting GTV, and thanks to all our viewers for the support.
Hilltoppers, let's talk about that schedule while we have a minute here while they're tending to Pendergrass on the field. Big game against Bishop Watterson. Watterson 3-0 heading into tonight.
Yeah, Bishop Watterson's a good team down there, and as you mentioned, the day starts for the Hilltoppers with a long bus trip.
Do you know who they have tonight, by the way?
Who's that?
Tiffin Columbian.
Really?
Yes.
So that'll be
kind of a gauge, in a way.
As much as you could compare one game to another, but yeah, we'll have that data point to add to the mix.
You know what's interesting is Tiffin, Columbian, still giving up 40, 50 points a game defensively.
Yeah, but that is an offense.
Now their offense is still putting up in the 50s.
I would say they got some really good offensive players there.
On the ground, they keep it moving, and Valentine across the 40, out near the 45-yard line. Nice run by Jimmy Valentine, the sophomore, 5'10", 180.
He's able to do a nice job to get out there, make that run, pick up some big yardage.
Of course, starting in Week 6, you begin Western Reserve Conference play, and it's the battle for Geauga County.
That'll be a big one there against Kenston.
Ulanga going to give it to Valentine again, trying to get around the left side, fighting for some yardage out near the 45. Then, now that game at Kenston's at home. They'll travel to Willoughby South on the 29th. They'll play the next week at Mayfield. Final 2 games of the year at home against North, and then the big one. Circle your calendar. Dave Boris coming to town, bringing in his high-flying Riverside Beavers, who beat Menor.
Nice to have that Riverside game Week 10, because that has become the biggest game in this conference every year, and it will be again. And it will be Week 10. That will be a fun one.
Flags flying as Valentine falls just past midfield for the Red Raiders. They're going to make a trek. They've got a game against Cathedral Prep in PA, and then they got to go to Massachusetts to take on Catholic Memorial. They will eventually play another Ohio team in mid-October, Hoban.
That'll be a tough one.
These guys just do not back down from playing teams.
No, but But sounds like, unfortunately for them, nobody around them is interested in playing them. No. So these poor young players have to travel all over the country just to play on Friday night.
But, I mean, to be fair, you can see why, though. I mean, they're big, they're athletic, they're physical. I get it. It's probably, the equivalent of maybe a Toledo Central Catholic. And y'all know why I dropped that name. Ulonga going to throw over the middle, incomplete. Was looking for Jeremiah Neely. They could not connect.
His coverage around, it was a tight window to have to throw into, and he wasn't able to get the throw out there to Neely.
It'll be 3rd and 18 for St. Francis.
Now, St. Francis committed that penalty. They got themselves behind the chains, and it becomes really hard to get back on track after you do that. And here they are at 3rd down and 18 after it looked like they were going to be moving on this drive.
2 receivers right, 2 left. Ulonga stepping up in the pocket, being flushed out, giving chase. Sansabello misses him, and he's knocked out of bounds. Just past midfield, but shy of the 1st down marker.
Yeah, Sansabello did enough over there to get him to step on the end line.
I believe that was Braden Schmotter who came up to make the hit.
So they're going to be sitting here at 4th down and 8 and probably punting after Sansabello just enough diving over there to get him to step out.
Well, Grant Sebczynski back out on the field for another punt attempt. He's 6'0", 175, and he's had issues with a couple of punts going over his, or snaps going over his head, including the last time he punted. Bruce awaiting the kick from his 20. End over end. Can't handle it. It is recovered by Keegan Brunette at the, what was that, at the 20, around the 20.
AJ just had too much space in front of him, Matt. He saw what was in front of him. He was ready to turn on the Jets and go and make it a 34-7 game, and he just never secured the catch. He was already running before he had the football in his grasp. So the Hilltoppers were able to score a touchdown in this quarter, taking advantage of a miscue on special teams. St. Francis is going to try to do the same now as they've got the ball 1st and 10 at the 21.
Well, 2nd time that they've been down in this territory in this quarter. First one came away with no points. Pendergrass the carry, and he is denied maybe a yard with forward progress, but little to run on.
Good work by the Hilltopper defense. They're really winning that battle up front now. Even with the size advantage on that offensive line, St. Francis just has not been able to stop all of the different routes of attack the Hilltoppers have on defense.
2nd and 9. Ulonga looking to throw over the middle. It's caught, 1st down, and into the end zone for the touchdowns, Jeremiah Neely.
Yeah, Neely was just able to fight his way through a couple of tackles and get into the end zone. So both teams have taken advantage of a special teams miscue to score touchdowns in this 3rd quarter.
When Caleb Hewitt is down, and he's in quite a bit of pain. Going to take a timeout here on GTV. There you see the Chardon Crazies. Granted, nothing to cheer about after that touchdown given up, but they've been having fun tonight supporting the USA. Great to see them with the red, white, and blues.
Yeah, it always seems like they do this USA theme tonight, the Friday night closest to September 11th, which the commemoration is going to be Monday again, and it always seems like that's the night they come out in their red, white, and blues here at Chardon Memorial.
Caleb Hewitt, after being attended to on the field, popped up, jogged off the field. Camillo out to attempt the PAT. It is up, and it is good with 2:29 to go here in the 3rd. It is Chardon 28, St. Francis 14.
So both teams have made their mistakes, and we are right back to where we started at the half. It's a 2-score game here with 2:29 to play in the third quarter. GTV is on Roku and Apple TV. You can get it on your cell phone as well. That's right, iPhone or Android. All you have to do is look for the Cablecast app in your store, and you'll have GTV on your phone.
Sponsorship of the Hilltoppers.
Well, start down in the nitty-gritty of this one. A little bit more than 2 1/4 here to go in the third, and we've got the fourth and the Hilltoppers. They've been in this position before. And over the last few years, Ryan, they've learned to close out these games and need to do it again against another good team.
Yeah, you know, it was a 2-score game a week ago, 21-10 against Avon Lake at this stage in the game, and the Hilltoppers were able to get one more score, and the defense held, and you'd expect the same again. Like you said, these are definitely guys that have been here before, and they know how to do it.
You know, in reality, and Mitch talks about this so often, is, you know, people just they hear the name Chardon, they think, running clock second half, running clock second half. When you play good teams, you don't get that.
No, this is not the non-conference schedule that allows for that.
Short kick taken just shy of the 30. Toppers won't get much of a return. It was Drayton Allgood bringing it back.
Allgood on the one-back.
But yeah, the schedule does not allow for much running clock here for the Hilltoppers. You know, maybe a couple games once you get into conference play, but the conference is a tough conference.
It is very tough. And, you know, from the get-go this year, we've heard Coach Hewitt, and I don't recall him this early in the year. I don't know, maybe he did it a little bit last year, but this year it's almost every week talking about just doing their best to keep everybody healthy because they're facing such violent competition. Flags on that play. Nope, check that timeout.
Freaking ball on the field. Are you kidding me?
This is okay.
Let's go Delaware.
We'll play call dead.
So the officials blew the play dead.
Interesting. I thought they were saying timeout St. Francis, but okay. But it's these games early on that start to get you ready for the postseason. You may not think that, but it makes them a better team. Francis, a little bit of running room, slicing and dicing. Francis picked up and then dropped down to the ground.
Yeah,
Saying that every play you say.
you're playing teams that are skilled. I feel like every week there's another D1 recruit on the other side of the field going against the Hilltoppers, and they're physical and they play hard and they come right at you, and it's very much like that postseason atmosphere. And when you get, especially in the early rounds of those playoffs, some of those opponents you're playing, they didn't have that during their regular season. It's the first time they've seen it. It gives the Hilltoppers a big advantage.
No, and you've actually hit on something, though. We'll talk about it after this play. Fake to Columbia. Francis around the left side, 40, first down, Hilltoppers. And Mitch spoke about this last week, too, where that is the case. You know, these teams that they're playing, it's good teams because they're not, and it's not that Chardon wants cupcakes because they know that doesn't get them any better. But there's a lot of teams that just frankly don't want to face Chardon because they know Chardon's a physical team.
And that's why you end up having a team coming from New York. You're going to Columbus. You were in Tiffin. Avon Lake comes all the way across. It's other teams in a similar situation looking.
Give to Bruce, shakes one tackler, and AJ knocked out of bounds after pickup of about 5 on that run.
But you know what, Matt, why those teams are there every year in deep playoff runs is because this is what their schedule looks like at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing is, it's not just, and Chardon's a great example of it, it's not just the Catholic schools that face this issue.
No.
Kirtland has the same problem. Menor, for a number of years under Steve Trevisano, had this issue.
Just can't find someone who's willing to come in and play you.
Or who's close by. Non-conference. Give left side, WeWereAthletes. Ball is taken away. It's stripped. And that is the first fumble of the year for the Hilltoppers.
And really, it was, I think that's all the credit goes to Terrence Pendergrass. That was, he literally just took that football right out of the hands. That was a straight strip. Pendergrass just made a great play, but this is a big moment for this defense now, because now St. Francis knocking on the door of being right back in this game. It's a 2-score game to begin with, but they're going to have the ball at the 41, and Hilltopper defense is going to need to come up here and make a stop, because this is a big momentum swing moment in this game.
And you got to think, if you're Red Raider head coach Jerry Smith, you're thinking, I have to come away with 7 here.
Yeah, you definitely want to score. You might not get an opportunity this good again in this game to close it to a 1-score game with plenty of time left. So this is the moment.
Ulanga looking to throw, has some time, stepping up, flushing out left side, giving chase, going to put the ball up in the air and throws it away. Wise decision.
Yeah, he had pressure coming again. It was good defense down the field by the Hilltoppers, preventing him from being able to get rid of that football. And then was Alexander Ash, how many times have we said his name tonight, providing the pressure, forcing him to get rid of that football.
Well, the gaudy numbers show it. There wasn't a huge loss of numbers last year in this Hilltopper defense, but what they lost was leadership. Alexander has stepped up. Pendergrass, the give, looking to go left side, gains a few yards and he's pushed back. But Ash has really stepped up to fill a void.
And that's a problem for teams every year, right? Your seniors graduate, and you're looking for who's going to step up. And Alexander Ash, one of those guys who's really stepped up, and he's a junior, so he will be around for another year after this.
Yeah, I mean, he has taken that role that Heath Fetchick had, and he's literally run with it, and run through it, over it, tackled whoever. 3rd and 8. Defense showing some blitz. Ulanga looking to throw the ball down the middle of the field. It's knocked away, incomplete. No flags. They were looking for Neely again. That has been a good connection between Ulanga and Neely throughout the night. Stops the clock with 7 seconds to go here and brings up 4th down and 8.
Well, and Neely saved his quarterback an interception there as well, because that throw was off and Neely raced back in there and knocked it out of the Hilltoppers' hands. That was Maruna in coverage on that one. Maruna almost had an interception.
After a brief conference on the sidelines, they come set. 3 receivers right. Ulanga looking to throw, going down the sidelines and overthrows everyone. It'll be a turnover on downs.
Yeah, he just kind of turned and threw that ball. He's hoping he could put it up for Allen, but Allen wasn't even open. A.J. Bruce had the step down the sideline there. That ball was just kind of you take the snap and you threw it. And that's what we talked about. This was a big moment for the Hilltopper defense. Momentum kind of felt like it could swing to St. Francis if they could put together a touchdown drive. And the Hilltoppers stepped up on D, got the stop. St. Francis turns it right back over on downs.
Three seconds to play here in the 3rd. This will be the last one, barring any kind of crazy penalty. Handoff. And Toppers will work the ball up near the 45-yard line. It was WeWereAthletes with the carry. That does it. 3rd quarter comes to an end. We'll take a timeout here from Chardon Memorial with the score: Chardon 28, St. Francis 14.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Ronyak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs,
Residence Artists,
El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, We Were Athletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
Welcome back, everyone, to GTV. Toppers up by a couple scores here. We start the fourth. Matt Jaworski, Ryan Radke with the Hilltoppers working their way left to right. And Francis with us outburst. He nearly ripped it off. Oh, a touchdown saving tackle by who else? Pendergrass.
I was going to say Pendergrass is their guy who does everything, and he makes a big play there.
And meanwhile, we had a couple of Red Raiders collide making blocks. And they went down in a heap, folks. We're going to take a timeout. A lot of big hits tonight, unfortunately. Well, some very frightening moments here at Chardon Memorial. And the good news is the two young men who were injured on the play were able to eventually be helped off the field. It was number 25, Aiden Pacholik, who was given the most attention. And then also number 7, Kenyon Ulanga, the second. Toppers going to run the football, pick up the first down across the 20. And
that was Will Francis with the nice run. Right up the middle, plenty of space for him to pick up the first down.
I just hope that both of those young men are okay. It was just, again, a very violent and scary hit.
So those are some of the hardest collisions where you're both going in for a tackle and from either side, and you end up colliding with your own teammate, and that's what happened there.
Good news was, again, they were both able to stand up and walk off on their own power. Pitch coming left side, A.J. Bruce. Bruce wrapped up. He's just had a very tough time turning the corner tonight. And you have to tip your cap to St. Francis. They just have such speed and agility that they've been slowing him down.
Yeah, we've talked about it. They've been playing with good discipline on that edge too. The Hilltoppers have not really been able to get too much open again. When they've had some success, it's been when they've reversed the direction there. But on those sweeps like that one to Bruce, it's been a nice job that's been done by St. Francis today to on that edge to keep the Hilltoppers from having somewhere to go.
You got to feel, too, it's a bit frustrating for AJ. He just hasn't been able to get it going like he has in years past. Part of that's because he's being keyed in on so much. Francis straight ahead picks up maybe 2 yards on that run, bring up third down.
He's like any young man out there on the field. He wants to come out there and make big plays. But the thing is, he's does a great job as a cover receiver, and you don't say his name much in coverage because all the teams that come in here know you throw away from A.J. Bruce, so he's doing a great job. He's taken away a whole part of the football field for the opposing offenses with just his presence out there. And sometimes though you want to make those big plays, and like you said, it's got to be frustrating for A.J. that it hasn't been there yet. But what we know about him is it will be there.
The beautiful thing about this offense, and we spoke about this early, it seems like it's been a different guy every night. Tonight it's been Vuya Clea. That run will go nowhere and going to bring up a fourth down situation. And do you kick a field goal here?
Well, let's see. It would be from where you're at about so you're at the 16, so you're talking about it's going to be a 33-yarder if you kick it. It looks like they're going to keep the offense on the field.
Sasrich has had his struggles on field goals, but he's been very good on PATs. 4th and 10 from the 16. Francis looking to throw. and could not hit WeWereAthletes. Will turnover on down.
Ball was behind WeWereAthletes there, so WeWereAthletes had to turn back around and couldn't change his momentum to get into the direction of that football. So the throw came behind, and it's a turnover on downs, and St. Francis will go back out there. 9:34, 2 timeouts, down by 2 scores. It's getting into the territory of must-score time here for the Red Raiders.
It is, and again, folks, this St. Francis team, they can score quickly. So just being down by 2 touchdowns doesn't mean much for them.
Again, this is where, if you're Chardon, you have the advantage of 2 scrimmages, 3 full games already under your belt. This is still just the second competitive anything for St. Francis.
Ulanga going to step up in the pocket, doing some pressure from behind, and he's sacked. Austin Green got him.
Yeah, great job by Green to get out there once again. Secondary doing a great job of covering the receivers, so you force the quarterback into some trouble, and Green is there to get the sack.
Austin Green, number 38 on that heat-seeking tackle.
Going to be a loss of 3 on that play. Push him back to the 12. Ulanga fakes the handoff, trying to get around the edge, and he runs into a couple of Hilltoppers, makes his way up near the original line of scrimmage. A lot of guys in on Chase. Lazinski was there. A.J. Bruce was there. And Kisley was there as well.
Yeah, they just did a great job. The Hilltoppers got in pursuit of that football, and they were able to bring Ulanga down for the short gain, but still 3rd and 11.
Ulanga has 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Pendergrass to his right in the backfield, snaps the ball, dropping back to pass, doing some pressure, will dump it off to his running back right side, who's tripped up and brought down. No gain on that play. And surprise, surprise, the helmet comes off again.
Screen pass there for Pendergrass. You're hoping that you could get him behind a bunch of blockers. And again, the quarterback's running away from that play, so you're hoping to draw the lineman away from that play. You could dump him off behind a bunch of blockers in front to move some linebackers and maybe have a shot at 11 yards. But Hilltoppers are right there. They're on it. Nowhere for him to go. A.J. Bruce is going to be back to return this punt.
Zemchinski from his 2. Bruce near the 50. St. Francis has to call a timeout. They did not have the right personnel in it. As a matter of fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They were still a man short.
Yeah, so they had, and that's when you're going to need to try to come back. That is the timeout. You can't afford to lose. They're down to 1. Well, hey, high school sports are just a part of our programming lineup. Our coverage continues all year long for Cardinal, NDCL, and Chardon sports. We're in our 28th year and can't believe it. So check channels 1020 and 1025 regularly for replay dates and times. Remember, our community and school bulletin board services are there as well, 24 hours a day.
7:14 to go here in this one. Toppers up 28-14. You look at the scoring in this contest, and it started with Ulanga connecting on a 28-yard touchdown pass to Jeremiah Neely. That was set up by the initial kickoff of the game, which was basically a little pooch kick that the Toppers couldn't get to, and St. Francis jumped on. They ran a running play, and then the next play was that touchdown pass.
Yeah, and that was St. Francis just wanting to start this game off and score first on the road, and they were successful in that.
Looks like Chardon was going to have a touchdown wiped off due to an illegal man downfield. They would eventually get the ball back. It led to a WeWereAthletes 51-yard touchdown run early in the second. Midway through the second, he ripped off a 33-yard touchdown run to make it 14-7. And a Caleb Hewitt 2-yard touchdown run made it 21-7. Beckett Dotson provided the Hilltoppers' other touchdown, a block punt. That one on the ground. Zemchinski somehow gets it away. AJ running up, has a little bit of running room. Coming left side. 35, 30, looking to make something happen, and up to the 27 before he goes out of bounds.
That's a nice return for A.J. Bruce. He's able to get over here to the near sideline and get the Hilltoppers in great position at the 30. This is an opportunity now. You're on St. Francis 30 for the Hilltoppers, and this is where playing these good teams early in the season, this is another place where it helps you close this game out right here. Score this touchdown, make it a 3-score game, and wrap it up on this drive. The defense and the special teams has put you as an offense in great position. You can kind of close this game out right here.
Give left or give right side. Francis kept it himself. Right side. It was a bit of a high snap, but he managed to bring it down.
Yeah, he did a great job going up there, getting that high snap, keeping his concentration and focus. Comes to the outside, and he's able to pick up about 7 yards to set up 2nd down and 3.
Pick up a 7 on the play.
Now, such a crucial possession for Chardon. WeWereAthletes again goes in motion. It's Columbia with the carry, going right side and working his way down inside the 20. Picks up the 1st down about the 18.
A good blocking out in front of that, giving Columbia somewhere to go, and he's able to pick up the 1st down. Robert Kendall was in on the stop there for St. Francis. But it's a fresh set of downs for the Hilltoppers here.
Three backs right behind Francis under center. Who does he give it to? It is... I couldn't tell. WeWereAthletes.
You're talking about he had those 2 touchdowns in the 2nd quarter, and it was those 2 plays to WeWereAthletes really opened up the offense for the Hilltoppers tonight. Those 2 great plays.
Officially no gain on that run, but it keeps the clock running. 5:18 and counting. And this is what the Hilltoppers want to do, just keep that clock moving. They give us to A.J. Bruce. Bruce up near the 15-yard line. Picks up a few yards there.
Good strong run there between the tackles by Bruce. You think of him as a speed guy and an athlete, but he's a real strong kid too, and he ran well between the tackles there. Saw him throw a block earlier in this game down the sideline.
3rd down and 8 from the 16. Francis, 2 receivers left. Sends WeWereAthletes in motion. Going to keep it himself. Francis spinning around. Breaks 1 tackle. Francis toward the end zone. Anybody going to call it? I guess a touchdown?
I'm going to say it's a touchdown, man.
I did not see any official raise their hands and say touchdown. They were kind of looking at one another, but touchdown it is. We'll go with that. Touchdown, Toppers.
Yeah, Vinny Columbia gets out in front and takes one of the 2 defenders with a block, so it leaves Will Francis only 1 to deal with. He spins around that guy into the end zone for the touchdown, but nice block out there by Vinny Columbia as well to help open up that run for Will Francis.
PAT is underway, and it is good. With 4:26 left, Toppers up on top, 35-14.
Well, a great group of concerned citizens in cooperation with Chardon Schools and the Chardon Athletic Boosters wants to build permanent restrooms and a concession stand at Chardon Memorial Field. We all agree these improvements are really needed after 24 seasons in the new stadium. Donations large and small are needed. Be sure to check chardonathletics.org for details or call Terry Hegner at 440-226-6367. The plan is to have the new additions completed in time for next fall. Well, the Hilltopper offense came out and finished it off, put this game away. Started with the defense, and the special teams made a big play on the return, and then the offense. That's good work by the Hilltoppers, closing out a game against a good team here.
Absolutely. It's what you want to see from Chardon as they look to improve their record to 3-1 on the year.
And it's the type of thing you need to be able to do come November.
After receive for the Red Raiders, number 1, Terrence Pendergrass. And number 20, Jimmy Valentine. Fantastic for the Hilltoppers.
Do you remember we'll have audio for you next week, next Friday night of the Toppers taking on Bishop Watterson. Yours truly will be on the call. High kick. Pendergrass watches it bounce, takes it from the 12. Coming near side, he gets to about the 22, and that's where his offense will come out, get back to work.
Pendergrass with the run back. Stopped by number 5, Peyton Peterson.
You have to wonder if the Red Raiders thought this game would be this physical.
I mean, they're a big team with a lot of strong players. I kind of think they want to come out and play physical, but you wonder how many teams match their physicality over the course of a year, and they got matched tonight. And for Chardon, this is the third week in a row where they've dealt with a really physical opponent, so they're getting good at this point in time.
First and 10 from the 21. Ulanga looking to throw over the middle, incomplete. Had a lot of Hilltoppers right there. Now they'll bring up second down. He keeps looking for Neely, trying to force something with, well, I'm assuming it's his number 1 target.
Yeah, Neely comes in at 6'3", 205. He's probably a guy who wins a lot of jump balls for you over the course of a year, and he's a pretty strong guy, could probably rip the football out of some situations. But this Hilltopper defense, I mean, there were 3 guys on him there. It's swarming to that receiver.
Ball on the ground, and flags come out, stop the play. It'll be a legal procedure against the visitors.
That fumble came because the football was snapped at a time when no one was expecting it to be snapped. So it's a legal procedure against.
I don't know if you happened to watch the Chiefs-Lions game last night.
I caught the third quarter.
I don't know if it was the third or the fourth quarter, but there was a call by the officials. It was they called it, I believe, a false start, and the referee said, everybody moved but the center.
That is awesome. I have seen that, but I saw that in a college game last year as well. It cracked me up. I thought it was hilarious. I think in the college game I was watching, it was false start on the entire offensive line, I believe is what was called in that one. I definitely appreciate the levity.
At least they're honest. Well, the Hilltoppers came into this game playing an unknown opponent, and they have stepped up tonight. Ulanga looking to throw the ball, stepping up, feeling some pressure toward the sidelines. The ball is caught. Did Neely pick up the first down is the question.
Well, that's why you're throwing it to him right there, because he makes that catch. He's such a big, strong guy in space. He was fighting his way forward. The question is, did a foot hit the sideline before he got across that marker? And
they're going to say
he got just enough.
You don't see them bring the chains out anymore.
Was that?
You don't see them bring the chains out anymore.
No, there's so many turf fields nowadays, Matt. Honestly, You can tell. I mean, this isn't the old day. You've got the grass and the divots. I know it's a piece of the game that's gone with all the turf fields, but as an official down there, you should be able to tell without measuring on a
down the sidelines. Neely makes the catch. He had to turn around and adjust, but he did a tremendous job.
Yeah, he just made a great catch down there. And again, this is why he keeps trying to force the ball to Neely. We've seen on the past 2 plays why. He is a great receiver when he gets the football. He's coming off the field here after that long reception.
You have to wonder if Ulanga was left in the whole game, how different things would be.
But again, we just don't know. This team played 1 game. We don't know what the normal
stepping up in the pocket, trying to avoid some pressure. He's brought down from behind. Beckett Dotson on the stop.
Beckett Dotson's made a number of big plays today. Obviously that recovery in the end zone comes to mind, but he's been in the backfield a couple of times, made some great plays.
2nd and 7, Red Raiders.
Also had a nice coverage. He's had a good night.
Clock moving, 2:36 and counting. Ulanga looking in, gets the signal from his coaching staff. They come set, and he will hand it off. Racing up the middle into the end zone, and touchdown, Red Raiders.
Number 15, Johan Vasquez.
Jonathan Vasquez there. Touchdown run.
Have another Red Raider down.
It's like they're going to try to stretch him out here. Well, hey, we've got some information for you about Hilltopper football live streaming. GTV is not able to stream away games. The only games that can be streamed are home games and some playoff games. GTV does not have the budget to live stream the games. So the Hilltopper Gridiron Club has stepped up to pay the production costs through their solicitation for underwriters. The site to go to for live streaming of Hilltopper football is chardonathletics.org. There is a $10 subscription charge that goes to Chardon schools. Be sure to tune in each week for every home Hilltopper football game. Catch the live stream at chardonathletics.org.
There's the QB Ulanga, who needed to have his calf stretched out, a little bit of cramping there. Up and off the field. So they'll work on the PAT. Here's Mario Camillo, the senior, 6'0", 175. No, that's good at the high snap. It's blocked.
Well, they were 1 player short. They had a player come in real late.
Pendergrass.
And I'm wondering if that didn't maybe mess with the kicker's rhythm a little bit. It's 35-20 with 2:13 left. But that's why that last touchdown the Hilltoppers scored was so important, Matt. When you talk about you made it a 3-score game and you put this one away. So even that big rushing touchdown there, it's only 2:13 left, and St. Francis has 1 timeout.
We've had a credit card turned in at the press box. If you can come and identify that credit card, if you've lost the credit card, are they taking credit cards at the concession stand?
All right, now for Chardon, you have 2:13 to go here. This offense designed to be able to take 2:13 off the board. You add into the fact that St. Francis 1 timeout left.
Yeah. So and then that's
start liking the odds.
Yep.
There's enough room on the card to find a new touchdown.
Hilltoppers are ready for an onside kick.
I will say, I would just love, just for the look of it for St. Francis to play Kenston. Onside kick attempt, and the Toppers will cover it up. Is that Will Francis who? Yeah, it was. Will Francis recovered the football.
You need to get your hands team out there, and on this team, your quarterback is part of that hands team.
But just for that, I mean, St. Francis, they have the 49er look. Would love to see them play Kenston, the Cowboy look.
And you know what? The thing about these jerseys, I can't tell you how many times that I've stopped myself mad because I was ready to say the 49ers just looking at them. You got the gold helmet. When you can see the logo, it's a similar, very similar looking logo.
They definitely borrowed some things.
You know, San Francisco, St. Francis, so you could use the same two letters.
You just don't see the 49 anywhere.
No, that's what's missing.
Mannery, where's Mannery? Where's Mannery?
St. Francis only has one timeout left, so if you're the Hilltoppers, come out here, get a first down.
Well, keeping it coming near side. Looks like we got a new back in the game for the Hilltoppers. Drayton Allgood with the carry.
Nice run there by Allgood coming to the outside.
See Kevin Mannery in the game as well for the Hilltoppers. Do want to send out congratulations, by the way. We mentioned the Hall of Fame took place today. Coach O, Bill Overton, the longtime offensive line coach here in Chardon, retired a few years back, a couple years, maybe it was last year. But he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, so deserving for him. Of course, was part of the championship teams of 94, 20, and 21. And he definitely made an impact on those. I wasn't around for the 94 team, but for the 20 and 21 teams, the way he molded those offensive lines and got them to come together, he never got enough credit for that. Mitch threw a lot of credit his way, but we didn't even talk about it that much either. 3rd and 3 for the Hilltoppers. Clock 1:20 and counting. Toppers may have turned the football over. Not sure what they're going to say Allgood did.
Ethan Metro chased him down. It's a 4th down.
They're going to say Toppers retained possession, that he was down.
And St. Francis is deciding not to use that final timeout here, Matt.
Also, congratulations to the family of Perry Miklas, class of '89, who was one heck of a football player back in the day. Was named to numerous first teams, a number of accolades for his football prowess on the field. Toppers letting it roll down, and they will call a timeout just before the play clock hits 0.
Doing the old, as much time as we can run, maybe they jump, who knows, but see what you can get there.
Now's that time when you need a punter who can put a hang time up of about 30. Now, this one case would be 21 seconds.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, burn the rest of the game with the ball in the air.
If you could just kick it in the stratosphere, we'd be good.
That's right. Hey, remember, GTV's on the internet. We've got video on demand, live streaming of both channels. Over 150,000 digital photos you can download for free. Our weather station in a Chardon and a Middlefield live square cam. GeaugaTV.org is where you can find all of that.
Could you see Dave's reading some emails? Jaws wants you to kick it in this. No, I'm just. You guys know what I mean. Chardon will touch it up, and will be likely one more, maybe 2 more snaps in this game.
It's going to be marked at the 19-yard line, 12 seconds to play. So it depends on what St. Francis does here. They did not use that timeout, so makes you think maybe they'll just come out, keep it on the ground, and it'll be one play and done.
folks, do remember following this game, we will take you to the post-game huddle. You can hear the words of Mitch Hewitt and his coaches as they address the team post-game, and then two of us will wrap it up, although always hard to follow the coaches.
It's a tough act to follow.
I know, we got to figure out a way to change that. Close out with the coaches. Maybe Mitch saying, "Hey, for GTV, bye, everybody."
How about that, Brian? What you thinking?
Let's see if we can get him to do that. To the Hilltoppers, they did have to burn another timeout.
I think they only had 10 guys out.
Yep.
You'll have that when you're cycling guys in.
Yeah, Kyle Kisley had to enter the game. Needed that third defensive lineman. And actually, that's potentially the worst thing that could happen. You give up a touchdown here with 12 seconds to go, make it a one-score game. Ulanga looking to throw. Now he's going to take off and run right side. Looking to get to the sidelines, picks up the first down and steps out of bounds with 4 seconds to go near the 35-yard line.
Hey, you're fine with that play if you're the Hilltoppers. He didn't get it down the field to one of his playmaking receivers. Yeah, he picked the first down and got out of bounds, but it took him 8 seconds to do it. There'll be one final play here for St. Francis.
First and 10, Red Raiders.
Well, Keon Ulanga from the gun. Feeling some pressure, just going to send it down the field, and it's intercepted. Hilltoppers will close out the game with a pick.
Big interception to end the game, and a good play there. Just go down.
Drayton Allgood.
It's good way.
All good.
It's all good. Good way for him to close out his night tonight.
Well, that will do it, folks. Hilltoppers winners 35-20. We'll pause and take a timeout. When we come back, you'll hear from the coaches as they address the team.
The Chardon Hilltopper Gridiron Club, in association with GTV, proudly presents Chardon Hilltopper Varsity Football. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Chardon Gridiron Club, Burr Funeral Home, Chardon Smile Center, Achilles Running Shop, Ashes Mayfield Window Cleaning Company, Best Funeral Homes, The Junction Auto Family, Precision Orthopedics Specialties, PRP and Associates, Roniak Paving, Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, and Fit for Life Physical Therapy, TJ Smith Excavating, Remax Tradition, Dan McCaskey and Terry Combs,
Residence Artists,
El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina, and the Chardon Athletic Boosters. Special thanks for supporting the Gridiron Club goes to the Lodge at Bass Lake, WeWereAthletes, Chardon Home Depot. Chardon Hilltopper Football is also brought to you by GTV.
Fellas, real quick, coach, you guys got anything?
Yes, I would say no game is perfect. You know, Coach Hewitt says it all the time. No game's perfect. And anybody who thought that this was going to be a cakewalk tonight just didn't. They don't know what kind of talent they have. It's a win, a good win. And we got to get better. And then the good news is we have great room to improve. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's a very physical football team. They run the ball really hard, they block hard, they fly to the ball, and they tackle and hit, right? The beautiful thing is, as Coach said, we've got areas to improve on. Remember the theme this week, right? Get better at the ordinary things, a little bit better. We get a little bit better at a bunch of different things. We're going to be really, really difficult to beat. The beautiful thing is when you can win a game 35-20 and you got a lot of areas to improve, the upside is huge.
Guys, what happens, there's trajectories of teams, right? Some teams play cake schedules, and they feel really good about themselves because they just beat the shit out of people, right? That's not the hand we've been dealt. You got to understand this, right? You probably have the hardest schedule in the state of Ohio for Division III, right? Waterson just beat the snot out of Tiffin. That's where we go. So there's no time to mope around and mourn our boo-boos, right? This is not how the game works. Not when the schedule is such, right? One of the nice things about playing a schedule like this is you learn to overcome adversity. That was about as awful as a way as you can start a game, right? But some of this adversity is self-inflicted. We can't do what we need to do with self-inflicted adversity. You got me? So we have to get better at those things. We need to be more coachable, more aware, more making eye contact. Yes, sir, no. It's all these little things that we have to get better at, okay? That's a good football player. That running back, they're huge, right? They're recruited throughout Western New York. I mean, there's a reason why they're a private school. But there's no rest for the weary, okay? And this is going to be a great challenge. It's going to be two probably top 8 teams in the state of Ohio in D3 football. It's going to be a great road trip, right? So we have to enjoy tonight, enjoy your fans, enjoy your band, cheerleaders, all that good stuff. But it's a quick turnaround, right? I wish we, in some ways, had a cupcake next week. Not the case, okay? Got me, fellas. I'm proud of you, man. I'd rather be 3-1 with a lot to learn than 2-2 with a lot to learn. Fair? Now, who should break it down?
Drago. I did.
Drago, you can break it down.
Yeah, Drago, come on, man. Make sure you go to bed. We are Harvey. Family at 3, 1, 2, 3, family.
Well, you heard it right there from the coaching staff. Was a nice win, but multiple ways to get better, and they don't have a lot of time to do it because they face a very good Division III football team next week, and they're going to take a 2.5-hour bus ride down to Bishop Watterson's field at Ohio Dominican to play that game.
Yeah, Bishop Watterson is a good program. That's not going to be an easy game next week, so you get right back to work. You look at the things you need to improve on, and you have a good week of practice, and you head down to play another tough opponent. It's just what you do if you play at Chardon.
But, Ryan, you look at this game, and a lot of good things to build on for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, definitely. This was the second week in a row. You had a tough week against a really good offense 2 weeks ago in Tiffin, but 2 weeks in a row now. The defense, especially the secondary, looked really good out there. Had some good receivers on lockdown tonight. And then on the offensive side of the football, again, so many different weapons. You get Vuya involved today with 2 big touchdown runs. Lots of ways to go. And then special teams scores a touchdown.
Indeed, they did. Final tonight: Chardon 20 and Chardon 35 and St. Francis 20. For our entire crew, we want to say thank you. Shout out to executive producer Dave Jevnikar, our director Brian Foster, all of our camera guys, and my partner tonight, as always, Ryan Radke. I am Matt Jaworski. On behalf of all the rest, we wish you all the best. Again, the final here from Chardon Memorial. The Hilltoppers improved to 3-1 on the year with a 35-20 victory over St. Francis. Night, everybody.